Welcome, dear friends, to a peaceful journey into the world of Pokémon, a universe that began as a simple game and has grown into a beloved legend, capturing hearts across the globe for over 2 decades. Tonight, we'll drift through the origins of this timeless world, exploring the myths and stories that gave birth to Pokémon, the rich lore of the regions, and the legendary creatures that have become icons. From the quiet beginnings of game development to the powerful bonds shared between trainers and their Pokémon, this is a world where friendship, adventure, and discovery are woven into every corner. As we wander together through these stories, we will unravel the mysteries and magic that have made Pokémon a cherished part of our lives, and perhaps find a moment of rest along the way. Now, let's take a deep breath together. Feel the soft rise and fall of your chest, the gentle rhythm of your body settling into comfort. Let go of the day's thoughts, releasing any tension in your shoulders, your hands, your face. Allow your breath to slow, each inhale and exhale guiding you deeper into calm. Let the quiet of the night embrace you as the warmth of the Pokémon world wraps around you like a soft blanket. And if you enjoy drifting through stories like this, you're welcome to subscribe and softly tell me where you're listening from tonight. Now let us begin our journey and slip gently into the first story of this world, the origins of Pokémon, where everything first began. In the quiet moments of the early 1990s, in a small office in Japan, a dream was taking shape, one that would go on to capture the imaginations of millions across the world. The seeds of Pokémon, that beloved universe of creatures and adventures, were planted by a man named Satoshi Tajiri. As a child, Tajiri had found joy in collecting insects, roaming the forests of his hometown, catching and studying them with a sense of wonder and curiosity. This love of exploration, of discovery, would become the foundation of something far greater. It was in the quiet moments of his childhood that Tajiri began to imagine a world where children could do the same, gathering creatures, exploring vast landscapes, and forming bonds with the beings they encountered. But his vision would be different. Instead of just observing insects in the wild, he wanted to bring that experience to the digital world. He dreamed of a game where players could collect, battle, and trade these creatures, each one unique and filled with its own mysteries and stories. The dream grew into a concept, and that concept would soon become the cornerstone of the Pokémon franchise. As the idea began to form, it was clear that the game would need a companion, something to help bring it to life. That's when Junichi Masuda and Ken Sugimori entered the picture. Masuda, who had a deep passion for music, would later create the iconic soundtracks that would accompany the adventures in the Pokémon world. Sugimori, with his artistic vision, would design the very first Pokémon, creatures that would become etched into the hearts of fans forever. But the journey was not an easy one. The team faced obstacles, limitations, and doubts. Would the concept of capturing creatures, battling with them, and trading them truly resonate with players? Could the technology of the time bring this world to life in a way that felt immersive, captivating, and alive? Despite the uncertainty, they pressed on. They poured their creativity into every detail, from the design of the Pokémon to the expansive world they would inhabit. Each new Pokémon was crafted with care, their personalities and abilities carefully designed to evoke both wonder and strategy. There was a magic in the way they came together, each one playing a role in this grand tapestry. The game was built on a foundation of connection. It wasn't just about capturing Pokémon, it was about forming relationships with them, understanding them, and growing alongside them. Each creature was designed to be a partner, a companion in the journey, with their own strengths, weaknesses, and personalities. Players wouldn't simply fight with these creatures, they would grow with them, evolve with them, and discover the magic of friendship and teamwork along the way. The first Pokemon game, Pokemon Red and Green, was released in 1996 in Japan. At the time, the Game Boy was already a popular handheld device, but the world of Pokemon had yet to unfold. As the game arrived in stores, there was no grand expectation, no certainty that it would become the cultural phenomenon it was destined to be. But the magic was there, hidden within the pixels and sounds of the game. Players took their first steps into the world of Kanto, meeting their very first Pokemon and beginning the journey of a lifetime. And as the game spread, first through Japan and then across the world, something extraordinary began to happen. The bond between players and their Pokemon grew stronger with each passing day. The thrill of discovering new creatures, of exploring new towns and cities, became an experience unlike any other. Pokemon wasn't just a game. It was a world to lose yourself in, a place where dreams were made, where friendships were formed, and where the impossible felt just a little bit closer. The simplicity of Pokemon Red and Green gave way to something far deeper. The connection players felt not only to the creatures they caught, but to the world they inhabited. Pokemon were not just objects to collect, they were companions with their own stories, their own lives. They evolved not just in terms of power, but in the bond they shared with their trainers. And so, with each new Pokemon game, the world grew. The regions expanded, the Pokemon evolved, and the stories deepened. But at the heart of it all was the same magic that had inspired Satoshi Tajiri all those years ago, a deep, enduring love of discovery, connection, and wonder. In the years that followed, the Pokemon franchise would grow beyond the realm of video games. The anime series, which first aired in 1997, would capture the hearts of a new generation of fans. Ash Ketchum, the young Pokemon trainer from Pallet Town, would become a symbol of hope and determination. His adventures with Pikachu, the electric mouse Pokemon, would take them on journeys far and wide, and it was here that the deeper themes of friendship, perseverance, and teamwork were beautifully woven into the very fabric of the Pokemon world. But before the anime, before the cards, before the countless spin-offs and sequels, there was a single idea, a dream of a world where creatures and people could come together in a shared adventure. The origins of Pokemon were humble, but they were filled with passion, with an understanding that the world is vast, mysterious, and full of potential. And in that vast world, there was always something to discover, something to catch, and something to love. As you drift deeper into the comfort of these stories, let your mind wander to your own adventures. What creatures might you have found if you could walk through a world like this one? What bonds would you form with the Pokemon you encountered? Allow yourself to imagine, to explore, and to drift into the softness of these thoughts, like the quiet hum of a Pokemon battle just beyond the horizon. In the quiet days of the early 1990s, when the world was still discovering the magic of handheld gaming, there was a team of dreamers driven by a vision. At the center of this vision stood Satoshi Tajiri, a man whose love for nature, exploration, and the simple joys of childhood would lay the foundation for an extraordinary journey. But bringing this dream to life was not an easy task. The world of Pokémon as we know it today was not created overnight. It was forged through perseverance, creativity, and a passion to create something that had never been seen before. Tajiri's childhood, filled with moments of wonder as he roamed the fields and forests, catching insects, would forever influence the way he saw the world. As the idea for Pokémon began to take root in his mind, it was clear that it was not just another game. It would be something that connected players, a world where they could immerse themselves, feel a sense of adventure, and experience the magic of discovery. But even with this clear vision, the process of developing Pokémon was filled with challenges. The technology of the time was limited, and the Game Boy, though a revolutionary device, was still in its infancy. For Tajiri and his team at Game Freak, a small company that was still trying to make its mark in the gaming world, the task seemed daunting. How could they create a game that would allow players to experience the joy of collecting creatures and exploring the world that felt alive? How could they make this dream a reality? One of the first obstacles was the sheer size of the world they wanted to build. In a time when video games were often limited in scope, Tajiri's dream was vast. He wanted a game that would span an entire world, a world filled with different regions, towns, and diverse environments. The challenge was to make it feel real, to create a world that players could lose themselves in. There was also the question of how to make each Pokémon feel unique, each with its own identity and abilities. How could they balance the game's mechanics, ensuring that each creature was not just a tool for battle, but a character in its own right? The answer lay in the collaborative efforts of the team. Junichi Masuda, a composer who had a deep understanding of music and sound, was brought on board to create a soundtrack that would help breathe life into the game. Masuda's music would become an integral part of the Pokémon experience, setting the mood for each new town, gym, and battle. The melodies he created were not just tunes, they were the very heartbeat of the Pokémon world, evoking feelings of adventure, nostalgia, and wonder with every note. Masuda's work would leave an indelible mark on the franchise, his compositions accompanying trainers on their journeys for years to come. Meanwhile, Ken Sugimori, an artist with a unique vision, was tasked with designing the Pokémon themselves. Sugimori's approach was simple but effective. Each Pokémon should feel as though it could exist in the real world. He took inspiration from animals, plants, and mythical creatures, blending elements of nature and fantasy to create beings that felt both familiar and otherworldly. Each Pokémon design had a story to tell, from the playful Pikachu to the majestic Articuno, and Sugimori's art would go on to become iconic, instantly recognizable to fans across the globe. The design of the Pokémon world was equally important. The developers sought to create a map that would feel vast and varied, yet cohesive. Each town, each route, each gym had its own distinct character, a sense of place that helped build the world's immersive atmosphere. The landscape was designed to evoke a sense of wonder and discovery, with hidden corners to explore, caves to delve into, and forests to wander. Each area was filled with surprises, waiting to be uncovered by the players. But it wasn't just about creating a world, it was about making it interactive. Pokemon needed to feel alive. The decision to include a trading system was a pivotal one. The idea that players could connect their Game Boys through a link cable and trade their Pokemon with one another was revolutionary. This feature not only added depth to the gameplay, but created a sense of community. It was no longer just about catching and training Pokemon. It was about connecting with others, sharing in the experience, and completing the Pokédex together. The thrill of trading and collecting Pokemon became an essential part of the experience, and it was a feature that would set Pokemon apart from other games of its time. As the development process continued, the team at Game Freak faced another significant hurdle: the limitations of the Game Boy's hardware. With only a small amount of memory available, the team had to make difficult decisions about what could and couldn't be included. But instead of seeing this as a barrier, they embraced the challenge, finding creative ways to work within the constraints. For instance, the decision to limit the number of Pokemon in the game to 151 was a deliberate one, allowing the team to focus on making each Pokemon unique and memorable. Every detail, from their appearance to their abilities, had to be carefully considered to ensure that the game was both balanced and engaging. And then, in 1996, the game was finally released in Japan as Pokémon Red and Green. It was an instant success, but at the time, the true impact of the game was not yet known. The world of Pokémon was still young, and the journey was just beginning. What followed was a wave of excitement as players across Japan embraced the game, connecting with each other through trades, battles, and their shared love of the creatures they had captured. The success of the game was not just a triumph of technology, but a triumph of imagination and passion. It was the result of years of hard work, creativity, and collaboration. And as the game spread to other parts of the world, it quickly became clear that Pokémon was more than just a game. It was a cultural phenomenon. As we drift through these early days of game development, let your mind wander to the quiet moments of creation, to the dedication that went into each pixel, each line of code, each melody. Imagine the quiet excitement that must have filled the room as each new Pokémon took shape, as each idea blossomed into something greater. Feel the warmth of their journey, the small steps that led to something so much bigger than they could have imagined. As the team at Game Freak continued to build the world of Pokémon, one question loomed larger than all the others. What would the Pokémon themselves look like? With over 100 creatures to design, each with its own unique personality and abilities, this task was nothing short of monumental. The first Pokémon had to be more than just characters in a game. They had to be memorable, relatable, and above all, enchanting. They had to capture the essence of the world they inhabited and the spirit of the adventure. The journey to create the first Pokémon began with a single idea. Each Pokémon should be rooted in the real world, inspired by the animals, plants, and mythical creatures that Tajiri had admired as a child. Ken Sugimori, the lead artist behind the designs, drew inspiration from his love of nature, often referencing animals and their behaviors when sketching out ideas. There was a careful balance between imagination and reality, between the possible and the impossible. Each Pokémon had to feel as though it could exist in the world, even if it was unlike anything seen before. And then There was Pikachu, the Pokemon that would go on to become not just the face of the franchise, but a symbol of its heart. Pikachu's creation was almost as organic as the character itself. With its round, chubby body, large, expressive eyes, and signature yellow fur, Pikachu was designed to be cute, approachable, and full of personality. But beyond its appearance, Pikachu was something more. It was a creature full of warmth, an electric companion that could spark both friendship and adventure. Pikachu's design was relatively simple, yet it had a charm that was undeniable. The lightning bolt-shaped tail, the rosy cheeks, and the wide-eyed innocence all came together to create a creature that felt as though it could be a real companion, something you could bond with, care for, and love. In the early days, Pikachu wasn't necessarily intended to be the mascot of Pokémon, but as the game began to spread, it became clear that this little yellow creature had captured the hearts of players everywhere. Its popularity grew, and soon Pikachu would be everywhere, not just as a Pokémon to catch and train, but as a cultural icon. As the development of the game continued, it was clear that Pikachu wasn't alone. The first generation of Pokémon was a diverse and rich tapestry of creatures, each designed with its own set of characteristics. Some were fierce, like the fiery Charizard or the aquatic Blastoise. Others were gentle and whimsical, like the adorable Jigglypuff or the floating Oddish. Each Pokémon had its own place in the world, its own role to play in the journey that players would embark upon. The design of these creatures was more than just a technical task. It was an exploration of personality, of what it meant to form a bond with a creature, to care for it, and to grow alongside it. Each Pokémon represented something different. Some were elements of nature, fire, water, grass, and electricity, while others were based on fantasy and mythology, inspired by creatures like dragons, birds, and other legendary beasts. This variety gave the game a sense of wonder, as players never knew what new Pokémon they would encounter next. The thrill of discovery was woven into every corner of the world. As you wander through these early creations, imagine yourself stepping into the lush forests of Kanto, where you might encounter a Pidgey fluttering through the trees, or a Caterpie inching its way along the ground. Perhaps you find a rare Eevee, whose potential evolution into one of several different forms sparks a sense of excitement and possibility. The world of Pokémon was one of endless variety, each new creature an invitation to explore further, to discover new partners, and to experience the joy of growing alongside them. The challenge of designing over 150 Pokémon was not just about creating a diverse cast, it was about finding the right balance between the familiar and the fantastical. While Pikachu was designed to be instantly relatable, others, like the mythical Mewtwo or the legendary Articuno, brought an air of mystery and majesty to the world. These Pokémon were not just part of the game, they were symbols of the unknown, of stories waiting to be uncovered, of ancient powers that had long been hidden away. The legendary Pokémon in particular played a significant role in shaping the lore of the world. They weren't just rare, they were deeply woven into the fabric of the game's mythology, often representing forces of nature or cosmic entities with immense power. In the development process, it was also essential to consider the gameplay aspect of Pokémon design. Each Pokémon needed to be balanced within the game's mechanics. Each had its own strengths, weaknesses, and abilities. This balance between design and playability ensured that no single Pokemon was too powerful or too weak. The challenge of designing these creatures was not just artistic, but also strategic. It was about creating a system where each Pokemon, from the humble Caterpie to the mighty Charizard, had a role to play in battles. The dynamics of type advantages and evolutions added a layer of depth that kept players engaged and invested in their journey. The evolutionary system was another key aspect of the design process. The idea that Pokemon could evolve into stronger forms was revolutionary. It added a sense of growth and progression, mirroring the development of the bond between a trainer and their Pokemon. As players caught, trained, and battled with their Pokemon, they would see their creatures change before their eyes, growing stronger and more powerful as they evolved. This process became one of the central joys of the game, watching a beloved partner transform into something new, something more powerful, something entirely different. One of the key factors that set Pokémon apart from other games of its time was its emphasis on collaboration. Pokémon wasn't just about completing a single-player journey, it was about connecting with others. The inclusion of trading, where players could exchange Pokémon via the Game Boy's link cable, added a layer of social interaction that hadn't been seen before. Players could share their creatures, trade for rare Pokémon, and even complete their Pokédex together. This feature brought a sense of community to the game, allowing players to bond not just with the Pokémon they caught, but with one another. It was a shared adventure, one that stretched across the world, bringing people together in the pursuit of a common goal. And as the game gained popularity, the first generation of Pokémon became a part of the fabric of popular culture. Pikachu, in particular, became an emblem of the franchise, appearing in everything from toys and clothes to movies and commercials. The Pokémon universe had gone beyond the realm of video games. It had become a worldwide phenomenon. And as players continued to catch and train and evolve their Pokémon, the world of Kanto was just the beginning. As you listen to these stories of the first Pokémon, let your mind drift through the quiet expanses of this early world. Imagine the first time you met Pikachu, or perhaps the thrill of encountering a rare Pokémon like Gyarados or Zapdos. Let the memories of your own Pokémon adventures wash over you, filling you with a sense of warmth and nostalgia. These early Pokémon were the beginning of something extraordinary, and as the game's world grew, so did the bond between trainers and the creatures they loved. The world of Pokémon is vast and rich, brimming with landscapes that are as diverse as the creatures that inhabit them. From lush forests and towering mountains to deep oceans and sprawling cities, the world that players explore is as much a character in the story as the Pokémon themselves. Creating such a world was no small feat, but it was an essential part of what made Pokémon so magical. Every region, every town, every route had to feel unique, yet connected to the greater whole, creating a sense of immersion that would pull players deeper into its embrace. The creation of the Pokémon world began with a simple idea: to make a place where adventure could unfold in every corner, where players could get lost in the beauty of the environment and the wonder of discovery. The world had to feel alive, breathing with the presence of nature, history, and mystery. To achieve this, the development team at Game Freak worked tirelessly to design the regions that would become the heart of the game. The first region, Kanto, became the foundation for everything that followed. It was the birthplace of Pokémon, the land where trainers first embarked on their journey, and it had to set the tone for the entire series. Kanto was designed to feel like a familiar place, yet one that was filled with secrets waiting to be uncovered. The towns were small and cozy, with quiet, welcoming streets that beckoned players to explore. The routes were filled with tall grasses, hidden caves, and beautiful landscapes that seemed to stretch endlessly into the horizon. It was a world where every corner held something new to discover, whether it was a rare Pokémon, a challenging battle, or a peaceful moment of reflection. But Kanto was just the beginning. As the world of Pokémon expanded, new regions were introduced, each with its own distinct personality and atmosphere. The region of Johto, introduced in Pokémon Gold and Silver, was a land steeped in history with ancient traditions and deep cultural roots. The architecture and design of Johto were inspired by traditional Japanese culture, with peaceful towns and temples, reflecting the region's connection to the past. The Johto region also introduced new elements to the gameplay, such as the concept of day and night cycles, which added depth to the world and made it feel more dynamic. Next came Hoenn, a region shaped by water, where islands, rivers, and seas played a central role in the landscape. The world of Hoenn felt like an uncharted paradise, with its tropical islands and sprawling coastlines. Hoenn's geography reflected a world that was both wild and untamed, full of natural beauty and untold secrets. The introduction of underwater exploration allowed players to dive into the ocean's depths, uncovering hidden caves and ancient ruins, adding an extra layer of adventure to the world. Sinnoh, the next region, was built upon the themes of mythology and cosmic wonder. With its towering mountains, icy landscapes, and ancient ruins, Sinnoh felt like a place where legends lived and breathed. It was a land full of mystery, with the themes of creation and destruction woven deeply into the lore of the region. The legendary Pokémon Dialga and Palkia, representing time and space, embodied the region's connection to the universe itself. Sinnoh's landscape, filled with caves, cliffs, and icy paths, was both beautiful and challenging, offering players a sense of awe and wonder at every turn. The Unova region, introduced in Pokémon Black and White, was inspired by the bustling cities and diverse cultures of North America. The region was a sharp contrast to its predecessors, with towering skyscrapers, busy streets, and a sense of modernity that made it feel like a living, breathing metropolis. Unova was a place where the past met the future, where nature coexisted with technology, and where tradition and progress were constantly in tension. This region was also home to the first fully 3D rendered Pokémon games, marking a new chapter in the franchise's visual evolution. Kalos, inspired by France, brought a sense of elegance and beauty to the Pokémon world. The architecture, with its charming towns and grand palaces, was a reflection of the region's sophisticated culture. The Kalos region felt like a world of dreams, full of light, beauty, and grace. The introduction of the fairy-type Pokémon added a sense of magic and enchantment to the region, while the theme of love and beauty was reflected in both the gameplay and the lore. Kalos was a place of refinement and mystery, where players could lose themselves in the allure of its landscapes and stories. Alola, introduced in Pokémon Sun and Moon, marked a bold departure from the traditional Pokémon regions. Inspired by the Hawaiian Islands, Alola was a place of sunshine, surf, and relaxed island life. The region's lush jungles, sparkling beaches, and towering volcanoes created a vibrant, colorful backdrop for the adventures that unfolded there. Alola also introduced the concept of regional variance, where familiar Pokémon took on new forms based on their environment, adding a refreshing twist to the gameplay. Finally, the Galar region, based on the United Kingdom, brought a new sense of industrialization and history to the world of Pokémon. Galar was a place where the old world met the new, where towering castles stood side by side with modern cities, and where the rich traditions of the past were preserved amidst the rise of new technologies. The region was filled with cultural references to British history, from its architecture to its food to its iconic landmarks. Galar's focus on competition and sports, especially with the introduction of the Gym Challenge and Dynamax battles, brought a new sense of excitement and spectacle to the world. Each region in the Pokémon world is more than just a map. It is a carefully crafted universe, filled with its own culture, history, and atmosphere. The creators of Pokémon understood that a world is more than just the sum of its parts. It is a place where stories unfold, where friendships are forged, and where the land itself becomes a character in the narrative. The geography, the towns, the cities, and the Pokémon that inhabit them all work together to create a world that feels alive, one that players can step into and explore with a sense of wonder. As you journey through these regions in your mind, imagine yourself walking along the quiet streets of Pallet Town, the wind softly rustling the trees. Feel the warmth of the sun on your face as you stroll through the verdant grass of Route 1. Picture yourself standing at the top of Mount Silver, gazing out over the vast world below, filled with endless possibilities and adventures waiting to be had. The Pokémon world is a place of beauty, mystery, and endless exploration. A world that calls you to discover its secrets, to form bonds, and to grow alongside the creatures that inhabit it. Throughout the world of Pokémon, there exists a group of creatures that transcend the ordinary. These beings, known as the legendary Pokémon, are not merely part of the vast ecosystem. They are woven into the fabric of the world's very creation. Their existence is steeped in myth, their powers often unimaginable, and their presence carries a sense of awe and mystery. For many, these Pokémon represent the boundary between what is known and what is beyond comprehension. To encounter one is not just a moment in the game, it is an event, a brush with something ancient, powerful, and otherworldly. The first generation of Pokémon introduced a trio of these extraordinary beings, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. These three legendary birds, representing ice, electricity, and fire, were not just powerful creatures, they were symbols of the forces of nature. Articuno, with its elegant wings and icy blue feathers, was the embodiment of the cold, the stillness of winter. Zapdos, crackling with electricity, symbolized the storm, the fierce power of lightning. And Moltres, a creature of flame, was the living manifestation of fire's untamed beauty and destruction. Their designs were breathtaking, not just for their strength, but for the way they represented the natural world. These legendary birds were not simply rare encounters, they were tied to the environment, representing the elements that shaped the world itself. The idea that such powerful creatures could exist within this universe added a layer of depth to the Pokemon world, making it feel as though there was always something just beyond the horizon, something greater than anything a trainer could achieve on their own. As the world of Pokemon grew, so too did the number of legendary Pokemon. In the Johto region, Pokemon Gold and Silver introduced two more iconic figures, the creation Pokemon, Lugia, and the embodiment of time, Ho-Oh. Lugia, with its majestic winged form and the power to control storms, became a symbol of the sea, the quiet force that lies beneath the surface, waiting to awaken. Ho-Oh, on the other hand, represented the sun, a creature of fire and light that soared above the world, bringing hope and rebirth. These two Pokemon were the guardians of Johto, their presence connected to the very fabric of the region's mythos. The story of the two birds, Ho-Oh and Lugia, became a central part of the lore, representing the eternal dance of light and dark, creation and destruction. In the Sinnoh region, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl introduced another pair of legendary Pokemon whose connection to the very structure of the universe made them central to the world's creation myth. Dialga and Palkia, representing time and space, were not just powerful, they were cosmic. Dialga controlled the flow of time itself, able to bend the past, present, and future to its will, while Palkia had dominion over space, able to manipulate dimensions and create the very boundaries of the universe. Their powers were beyond understanding, and the mere suggestion that they existed within the same world as ordinary Pokemon was a reminder that this universe was far greater than anything a trainer could imagine. The introduction of these legendary Pokemon hinted at a world where every event, every action, could have cosmic consequences. Alongside Dialga and Palkia stood Giratina, the third legendary of the Sinnoh region, whose very nature seemed to challenge the rules of existence. Giratina, representing antimatter and the distortion of reality, was a being that inhabited a realm of chaos, a mirror dimension where the laws of space and time did not apply. It was as though Giratina's very being was a paradox, a contradiction to the order that Dialga and Palkia represented. Giratina was a reminder that not all forces in the Pokemon world could be understood or controlled. Some things existed outside of time and space, lurking in the shadows, waiting to be discovered. In the Unova region, Pokemon Black and White introduced a new set of legendary Pokemon whose power was tied not to nature or the cosmos, but to the very essence of ideals and truths. Reshiram and Zekrom, the two dragons of Unova, represented opposing forces. Reshiram embodying the truth, and Zekrom representing ideals. Their battle was not just one of strength, it was a battle of philosophies, of what it meant to be true to oneself and to the world around you. These two dragons were central to the region's story, with their battle echoing through the lands as a reminder of the complexities of existence. They were not simply powerful beings, they were the embodiment of concepts that defined the course of human history. The Kalos region, inspired by France, introduced a different kind of legendary Pokemon, one that represented beauty, love, and life itself. Xerneas, the fairy-type Pokemon of Kalos, was known as the Life Pokemon, said to possess the power to give life to the world around it. With its elegant antler-like horns and graceful form, Xerneas was a symbol of vitality, of nature's ability to regenerate and heal. In contrast, Yveltal, the dark-type counterpart, represented destruction and the end of life. These two legendary Pokemon embodied the cyclical nature of existence, life and death, creation and destruction, always intertwined. Their presence in the Kalos region added a philosophical layer to the lore, where the balance between life and death was as crucial to the world's existence as the very elements that governed it. In the Alola region, Pokemon Sun and Moon introduced a new generation of legendary Pokemon that brought with them a sense of mystery and wonder. Solgaleo and Lunala, representing the sun and the moon, were tied to the very rhythms of the universe. Solgaleo, a majestic lion-like creature of light, embodied the power of the sun, while Lunala, the ethereal bat-like Pokemon, represented the moon's soothing, quiet power. These two legendary Pokemon were linked to the region's mythology, serving as the guardians of Alola's islands and the keepers of its balance. Their presence was a reminder of the delicate equilibrium that governs the world, where light and dark, day and night, are forever in harmony. The Galar region, introduced in Pokemon Sword and Shield, brought with it two new legendary Pokemon, Zacian and Zamachenta. These two Pokemon, representing the Sword and Shield, were tied to the legends of Galar's past, where they fought to protect the region from destruction. Zacian, the sword-wielding wolf, embodied the virtues of courage and strength, while Zamachenta, the shield-bearing wolf, represented protection and endurance. Together, they were symbols of sacrifice and heroism, reminding players of the importance of standing together in the face of adversity. The legendary Pokemon of the Pokemon world are more than just rare creatures. They are the symbols of the forces that govern the universe itself. They represent the balance of nature, the flow of time, the clash of ideals, and the eternal struggle between creation and destruction. They are the myths that shape the world's history, the mysteries that continue to captivate trainers and adventurers alike. And as you journey through the world of Pokemon, encountering these beings, you are reminded that the world is not just a place of battles and adventure, it is a place of wonder, where the unknown is always just around the corner. As you listen, let your mind drift to the cosmic scale of the Pokemon world, to the mysteries that await discovery. Imagine standing in the presence of these legendary beings, feeling the awe and reverence that their power commands. Let the myths and legends of the Pokemon world fill you with a sense of peace and wonder, knowing that in this universe there is always more to learn, more to explore, and more to discover. The world of Pokemon is filled with legendary creatures and iconic trainers, but there is one group that stands at the pinnacle of every trainer's journey: the Elite Four. This elite group of trainers is a test, a final challenge that every aspiring champion must face in order to prove their worth. But how did the Elite Four come to be? What makes them such an integral part of the Pokemon universe, and how did they rise to their current status? The Elite Four was first introduced in the original Pokemon Red and Green games, and their role has remained central ever since. In Kanto, the Elite Four stood as the final trial before a trainer could face the Pokemon League champion. Their strength was unparalleled, and each member of the Elite Four specialized in a different type of Pokemon, from the powerful psychic types of Lorelei to the fierce fire types of Blaine. These trainers were the ultimate challenge, each one a test of strategy, skill, and adaptability. To defeat the Elite Four, a trainer had to be at the peak of their abilities, prepared for any challenge that might arise. The Elite Four's importance grew as the games progressed, with each new generation introducing new trainers to fill these coveted positions. As the Pokemon world expanded, so too did the roles of the Elite Four. In the Johto region, the Elite Four was expanded with new faces, including Will, a master of Psychic-type Pokemon, and Karen, whose Dark-type Pokemon were a new and unique challenge. The introduction of Dark-type Pokemon shifted the dynamics of battles, as these creatures brought with them new strategies and counterplay to traditional types. The Elite Four's role, while always challenging, had now become even more complex, reflecting the ever-evolving nature of the Pokemon world. The Elite Four is not just a group of powerful trainers, they are a reflection of the very structure of the Pokemon League itself. Each member represents a challenge in their own right, a testament to the hard work and dedication required to become a true Pokemon master. But what truly sets the Elite Four apart is their unwavering determination and the bond they share with their Pokemon. These trainers are not just formidable opponents, they are the embodiment of everything a trainer strives to be. Their connection to their Pokemon is one of respect, strength, and loyalty, and it is this bond that makes them such formidable foes. In addition to being a major gameplay feature, the Elite Four also represents the culmination of a trainer's journey. The road to the Elite Four is long, filled with battles, challenges, and countless encounters with other trainers. But once a trainer faces the Elite Four, it is a moment of triumph. They have proven their skills, their knowledge, and their connection with their Pokemon. To defeat the Elite Four is not just about winning battles, it is about becoming one with the world of Pokemon, understanding its creatures, and mastering the art of battle. As we reflect on the rise of the Elite Four, it is easy to see how they have become a symbol of the ultimate challenge. For every trainer, defeating the Elite Four represents the pinnacle of their journey. But just as important is the journey itself, the challenges, the growth, and the moments of triumph that led to the final battle. The Elite Four represents the best of what Pokemon training can be, a test of perseverance, strategy, and heart. And as you listen, let yourself drift into the calm, knowing that the trials of the Elite Four are not just tests of strength, they are tests of spirit, of connection, and of the growth that comes with every adventure. The Elite Four is not just a group of trainers, they are the keepers of the ultimate challenge, the final hurdle that every trainer must face to prove their place in the Pokemon world. In every region of the Pokemon world, there exists a group of trainers known as the Gym Leaders. These individuals are not only masters of a particular Pokemon type, they are the guardians of each region's Pokemon League. To become the champion, a trainer must defeat all 8 gym leaders and earn their gym badges, a rite of passage that stands as a testament to the trainer's growth, skill, and perseverance. But who are the gym leaders, and what makes them such an integral part of the Pokemon universe? The concept of the gym leader was first introduced in the Kanto region, where each gym leader specialized in a particular type of Pokemon. These leaders became the first real challenge for aspiring trainers, standing between them and their ultimate goal, facing the Elite Four and becoming the champion. The first gym leaders were simple but memorable characters. Brock, the rock-type leader of Pewter City, tested trainers with his powerful Onyx, while Misty, the water-type leader of Cerulean City, challenged trainers with her Swift Starmie and Staryu. Each gym leader was more than just an opponent. They were mentors, figures of authority, and individuals who represented the strength and resilience of their chosen type. As the Pokémon world expanded, the role of gym leaders became even more complex. In the Johto region, the gym leaders were still connected to their respective types, but they were also more deeply embedded in the lore of their regions. For example, Whitney, the normal type leader of Goldenrod City, was known for her signature Pokémon, Miltank, whose powerful rollout attack could defeat even the strongest of teams. This new level of difficulty and strategy reflected the growing complexity of the Pokémon world, as each gym leader became a test not just of strength, but of the trainer's ability to adapt to new challenges. In the Hoenn region, gym leaders like Roxanne, with her rock-type Pokémon, and Flannery, who commanded fire types, continued the tradition of specialized battles. However, the introduction of new mechanics, like double battles, made the gym leaders' strategies even more unpredictable and dynamic. The Hoenn region's gym leaders were not just guardians of their respective types, they were gatekeepers to new forms of Pokémon battle, challenging trainers to think beyond the basics and consider multiple strategies at once. The increased difficulty and complexity of these battles made them an even more integral part of the journey toward becoming the champion. As the series progressed, each new region introduced its own set of gym leaders, each one bringing something unique to the table. The Sinnoh region's gym leaders, like Rourke, the rock-type leader, and Candace, the ice-type leader, were not just masters of their elements, they were also embodiments of the region's personalities. Rourke, for example, reflected the Sinnoh region's deep connection to mining and excavation, while Candace's icy battlefield reflected the harsh and beautiful landscapes of Sinnoh's mountains and glaciers. These gym leaders were not only fierce opponents, but figures who represented the geography, culture, and history of their regions. The Unova region, with its focus on innovation and change, introduced gym leaders who pushed the boundaries of what was possible in the Pokémon world. Leaders like Lenora, the normal-type gym leader, and Clay, the ground-type leader, were characters who embodied the hard-working, progressive spirit of Unova. Lenora's intelligent, methodical approach to battle, seen through her Pokémon like Herdier, was a reflection of Unova's academic focus, while Clay's tough, no-nonsense demeanor mirrored the region's industrial strength. These gym leaders represented the balance between tradition and progress, teaching trainers that growth requires both careful thought and raw strength. The Kalos region, inspired by France, introduced a new level of sophistication to the gym leader system. The Kalos gym leaders, such as the fairy tale-like Valerie and the fashion-forward Viola, not only reflected their region's aesthetic, but also brought a sense of style and elegance to the world of Pokémon. The gym challenges in Kalos were more than just tests of strength. They were about embracing the beauty of the world and finding joy in the artistry of battle. This artistic influence was particularly evident in Kalos's gym leaders, who used their battles as opportunities to express their creativity and individuality. In the Alola region, the concept of gym leaders was replaced by the Island Challenge, a test that allowed trainers to experience a more diverse set of challenges. Rather than traditional gym leaders, Alola featured island kahunas, each representing a unique test related to the island they governed. These kahunas, like Hala and Olivia, represented the spirit of Alola itself, vibrant, laid back, yet deeply connected to the natural world. Their trials were a reflection of Alola's unique culture and laid-back lifestyle, making them feel more like guides than opponents. In Alola, the focus was not just on battle, but on understanding the land, the people, and the Pokémon that lived there. Finally, the Galar region's gym leaders introduced a new, exciting element to the system, the Gym Challenge. This challenge, with its massive stadiums and high-profile competitions, turned the gym leader battles into a spectacle, events designed not only to test a trainer's skill, but to entertain the crowds. Leaders like Leon, the champion, and Marnie, the dark-type gym leader, brought an air of professionalism to the battles, emphasizing the growing importance of Pokémon as a form of entertainment. The battles in Galar were not just contests of strength, they were performances, showcasing the drama and excitement of competitive Pokémon battling at its highest level. The role of gym leaders has evolved over the years, but one thing has remained constant. They are the gatekeepers of strength. They are the ones who stand between a trainer and their ultimate goal, guiding them on a journey of growth, strategy, and perseverance. Each gym leader, with their unique style and personality, is a reflection of the world they inhabit. To defeat them is not just a triumph over skill, it is a testament to a trainer's connection to the world, to their Pokémon, and to the lessons learned along the way. As you listen, imagine yourself standing before one of these gym leaders, feeling the weight of their challenge. Their Pokémon, each a force to be reckoned with, stand ready for battle. Let yourself absorb the intensity of the moment, the anticipation of the fight ahead, and the knowledge that each battle is a step forward on your journey. Feel the bond between trainer and Pokémon grow stronger with every challenge you face, and let the rhythm of battle carry you into the quiet comfort of rest. In every Pokémon adventure, there is a figure who plays a crucial role in shaping the journey of every new trainer, the Pokémon Professor. These knowledgeable, often eccentric characters are not just the gatekeepers who introduce trainers to the world of Pokémon. They are the pioneers of discovery, the driving forces behind the exploration and understanding of the Pokémon world. Each professor, from the original Professor Oak to the more recent figures like Professor Magnolia, represents a different aspect of the world's vast and ever-growing knowledge about Pokémon and their habitats. Professor Oak, the first and perhaps most iconic Pokémon professor, is a central figure in the history of the Pokémon series. As the professor of the Kanto region, Oak is responsible for guiding aspiring trainers, giving them their first Pokémon, and setting them on the path to becoming champions. But Oak is more than just a mentor. He is a symbol of curiosity, of the desire to understand the creatures that inhabit the world. Oak's vast knowledge about Pokémon and their behavior stems from a lifetime of research, and his passion for discovering new Pokémon is what drives him to send trainers on their journey. Through Oak's guidance, trainers learn not only about their Pokémon, but also about the world itself, its ecosystems, and the ways in which Pokémon and humans can coexist. In addition to Oak, the Pokemon world has introduced numerous other professors, each with their own unique research focus and personality. In the Johto region, Professor Elm serves as the professor for new trainers, offering them the choice between Chikorita, Cyndaquil, and Totodile. Elm's primary focus is on the evolution of Pokémon, and his research has contributed greatly to the understanding of how Pokémon change over time. His work on Pokémon evolution also highlights the broader scientific curiosity that drives each professor. Each one's work has the potential to impact not just the region they inhabit, but the entire world. As the series continued, the role of the professor expanded. In the Hoenn region, Professor Birch became a pivotal figure, known for his adventurous spirit and his expertise in Pokémon habitats. Birch's work centered around the ways in which Pokémon adapt to their environments, and his knowledge of the region's diverse ecosystems proved invaluable to trainers as they explored the vast landscapes of Hoenn. Birch's field research, which often involved venturing into the wild to observe Pokémon in their natural habitats, gave him a hands-on perspective on the relationships between Pokémon and their surroundings. In the Sinnoh region, Professor Rowan introduced a new layer of scientific curiosity. Rowan's research was centered around the origins of Pokémon, especially the ancient and mysterious Pokémon like Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina. He was particularly interested in the creation myth of the Pokémon world and the relationships between time, space, and antimatter. Rowan's expertise in the cosmic forces that shaped the Pokémon universe set him apart from previous professors, and his work raised questions about the very nature of the Pokémon world itself. Through his research, trainers were exposed not only to the Pokémon they encountered, but to the deep and sometimes cosmic forces that governed the world. In Unova, Professor Juniper became the first female professor in the main series games. She brought with her a fresh perspective, focusing on the origins and spread of Pokémon across different regions. Juniper's research extended beyond the boundaries of Unova, exploring the migration patterns of Pokémon and how they adapted to different environments. Her work laid the groundwork for a deeper understanding of how Pokémon move, live, and interact with each other across the world. Juniper's perspective on the interconnectedness of regions, as well as her pioneering research into the Pokémon world's history, made her a key figure in Unova's scientific community. The Kalos region introduced Professor Sycamore, whose research was focused on the concept of mega evolution. Mega evolution, a powerful transformation that allowed certain Pokémon to reach new heights of power, became a central theme in the Kalos games. Professor Sycamore's research into this phenomenon and his fascination with the potential of Pokémon to undergo such dramatic changes was a reflection of Kalos's emphasis on beauty, evolution, and transformation. His work allowed trainers to unlock the secrets of mega evolution, adding a new layer of strategy and excitement to the world of Pokémon. In the Alola region, Professor Kukui brought a different energy to the role of the Pokémon professor. Kukui's work was centered around the study of Alola's unique Pokémon and their relationship with the region's culture. Unlike many of the professors before him, Kukui had a deep understanding of the region's traditions, and he incorporated this into his research. He was also the first professor to encourage trainers to think outside the box, embracing new forms of battle such as the Island Challenge and Alola's unique Zed moves. Kukoi's approach emphasized the importance of understanding Pokemon as both creatures of power and partners in the journey of life. Professor Magnolia, the professor of the Galar region, further evolved the role of the Pokemon professor by focusing on the history of Galar's mysterious Dynamax phenomenon. Magnificent in her wisdom, Magnolia was deeply interested in the interaction between Pokemon and their environment, particularly the way certain Pokemon could grow to enormous sizes when in certain conditions. Her research on Dynamax and Gigantamax forms led to a deeper understanding of the balance between Pokemon and their environment, and her work added another layer of intrigue and excitement to the Galar region. Professor Magnolia's scientific curiosity demonstrated the ever-evolving nature of Pokemon research and discovery. The Pokemon professors are not just characters in the games, they are symbols of the boundless curiosity and the desire to understand the world around them. Each professor's research reflects the world they inhabit, and each one brings a unique perspective to the study of Pokemon. Their work is a reminder that the world of Pokemon is not static. It is a world that is constantly evolving, changing, and growing. Just as the Pokemon themselves evolve and adapt, so too does the research into their nature. The professors, through their discoveries and guidance, help trainers unlock the mysteries of this ever-expanding world, giving them the tools they need to explore, to grow, and to become true Pokemon masters. As you reflect on the work of these professors, let yourself imagine the excitement of discovery, the thrill of learning something new, the joy of understanding the mysteries of the world. These professors, with their dedication and passion, are the unsung heroes of the Pokemon world. Their research continues to shape the future, paving the way for new generations of trainers to embark on their own journeys of discovery and growth. As you rest, think of the boundless possibilities that lie ahead and the mysteries of the Pokemon world that are waiting to be uncovered. When the Pokemon world first began, battles were simple. Trainers sent their Pokemon into the fray, and the fight began. Yet, as the series evolved, so too did the battles. The mechanics of combat in the Pokemon world expanded, becoming deeper and more complex. The evolution of Pokemon battles reflects the growth of the Pokemon world itself. What started as a straightforward contest of strength and strategy blossomed into a rich and multifaceted experience that would engage both casual players and competitive trainers alike. In the early days of Pokemon Red and Green, battles were relatively simple. A battle between two Pokemon, each using their most powerful moves, trying to outlast the other. It was a direct competition with straightforward rules based on type effectiveness and raw power. However, even in these early games, there were hints of a more complex system. The introduction of moves that affected the opponent's stats, such as Growl or Leer, added a layer of strategy. The types of Pokemon, with their strengths and weaknesses, already made battles more dynamic, pushing players to think critically about which Pokemon to use in each situation. The true evolution of Pokemon battles began with the introduction of moves that affected more than just raw stats. As the series moved into later generations, moves began to take on new effects. Pokemon could use moves like Toxic, which would poison the opponent over time, or Light Screen, which would reduce the damage from special moves. These strategic additions made battles more about timing, preparation, and adapting to an ever-changing battlefield. The introduction of held items, like berries or leftovers, also changed the dynamic of battle, as trainers could now equip their Pokémon with items that enhanced their effectiveness or provided a strategic edge. In Pokémon Gold and Silver, the move to introduce a second generation of Pokémon added new layers to battle strategies, including abilities that affected a Pokémon's performance in battle. These abilities were a game changer. Suddenly, Pokémon were not just defined by their type, level, and moveset. Abilities added a new layer of complexity, as each Pokémon had unique traits that could give them an advantage or disadvantage in certain situations. For instance, a Pokémon with the ability Intimidate could lower the opponent's attack stat, or a Pokémon with Levitate would be immune to ground-type moves. These abilities created an entirely new way to think about battles, requiring trainers to consider not just their Pokémon's moves, but also their inherent characteristics. With the introduction of double battles in Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire, battles became even more intricate. Now 2 Pokémon from each side would be on the field at the same time, adding a layer of coordination and synergy to each fight. No longer could a trainer rely solely on raw power or a single Pokémon's abilities. They had to think about how their Pokémon worked together, how they could complement one another, and how their moves could create opportunities for combination attacks. This change marked a major shift in how battles were conducted, turning them into dynamic, multifaceted encounters that required more careful thought and planning. In Pokémon Diamond and Pearl, the move to introduce a new set of stats, the physical and special divisions for attack and defense, further evolved the way battles were approached. The distinctions between physical and special moves added a new dimension to strategy, as trainers had to consider not just what type of move they were using, but whether that move was based on a Pokémon's attack or special attack stat. This distinction also affected the way certain Pokémon were trained. For instance, a powerful water-type move like Hydro Pump would now be a special attack, while a move like Waterfall would be a physical one. This distinction allowed for even greater customization of a Pokémon's abilities and moveset, giving trainers more freedom to tailor their Pokémon to their desired playstyle. The most significant change in battle mechanics came with the introduction of Mega Evolution in Pokémon X and Y. Mega Evolution allowed certain Pokémon to undergo a temporary transformation during battle, greatly enhancing their power and altering their appearance. The addition of Mega Evolution brought a whole new layer of excitement and surprise to battles, as trainers could now use these powerful forms to turn the tide of a battle in an instant. However, Mega Evolution also required careful strategy, as each Pokémon could only Mega Evolve once during a battle. This added an element of timing. Trainers had to decide the right moment to use their Mega Evolution, knowing that it could make or break the outcome of a battle. The rise of the Dynamax and Gigantamax mechanics in Pokémon Sword and Shield marked the next stage in the evolution of Pokémon battles. With Dynamaxing, trainers could cause their Pokémon to grow to massive sizes, gaining increased HP and access to powerful max moves. This shift in battle mechanics introduced new strategies and tactics, as trainers had to decide when to Dynamax their Pokémon and how to make the most of their enhanced abilities. Gigantamaxing, an even rarer form of Dynamax, altered not only a Pokémon's size, but also their appearance and moves, adding even more depth to the battle system. Beyond the in-game mechanics, the evolution of Pokémon battles has also played a significant role in the competitive scene. With each generation, the meta, the overarching strategies and tactics used in competitive play, has shifted and evolved, driven by the introduction of new Pokémon, moves, abilities, and battle formats. What was once a game of simple type matchups and straightforward strategies has become a complex and dynamic competitive environment where every move, every choice, and every Pokémon matters. Competitive Pokémon battling has grown from casual fun into a global phenomenon with tournaments held around the world and dedicated communities of trainers refining their skills. In these competitive environments, the evolution of Pokémon battles is especially apparent. Players must understand not only the statistical strengths and weaknesses of their Pokémon, but also the nuances of battle dynamics, from predicting an opponent's move to managing their own team's synergy. Each battle is a test of strategy, skill, and adaptability, where the slightest mistake can mean the difference between victory and defeat. At its core, the evolution of Pokémon battles has always been about growth, both for the Pokémon and for the trainers themselves. Just as Pokémon evolve and become stronger with experience, so too do the strategies that trainers use in battle. What began as a simple turn-based system has transformed into a multi-layered, dynamic experience that challenges players to think critically, act strategically, and adapt to an ever-changing battlefield. Pokémon battles are no longer just about pressing buttons. They are about the careful planning and execution of every move, the use of timing and tactics to gain an edge, and the bond between trainer and Pokémon as they fight together. As you listen to the evolution of Pokémon battles, imagine yourself standing in the heat of a fierce match. The tension builds as each side makes their move, the fate of the battle hanging in the balance. Feel the excitement of each turn, the satisfactions of seeing your Pokémon grow stronger and stronger as the battle progresses. Whether you are battling in a gym, facing the Elite Four, or taking on a rival, Pokémon battles are the heart of the Pokémon experience, a journey of strategy, growth, and connection. In the early days of Pokémon, the act of trading was nothing short of revolutionary. What began as a simple mechanic in the original Pokémon Red and Blue games has grown into one of the most beloved and defining features of the franchise. Trading Pokémon with friends and strangers alike became a cornerstone of the Pokémon experience, enriching the game and creating a sense of community among players. But how did trading come to be, and why did it become such an integral part of the Pokémon journey? At the heart of Pokémon trading is the Link Cable, a device that allowed players to physically connect their Game Boy systems and exchange Pokémon. Released alongside the original Pokémon Red and Green in 1996, the Link Cable was an innovative piece of technology at the time, enabling players to interact with one another in ways that were previously unheard of. The concept of connecting two handheld gaming devices through a physical cable was an entirely new idea, and it sparked an era of social interaction that would become central to the Pokémon experience. The Link Cable allowed players to trade their Pokémon with one another, allowing each trainer to build a unique team by sharing their creatures with others. This feature added an entirely new layer of depth to the game. Suddenly, A single copy of the game could not be fully completed without connecting with others. Some Pokemon, like the beloved Eevee or the mighty Machoke, could only evolve through trading, adding an element of cooperation and connection to the process of completing a Pokédex. The desire to trade and evolve Pokemon led to a sense of excitement and anticipation as players searched for others who could help them complete their collection. The link cable also introduced an important aspect of Pokemon's multiplayer experience: friendship and community. Before the internet, trading was a purely local experience. Players had to connect with friends or other nearby trainers, either in person or through organized events, to exchange Pokemon. This real-world interaction fostered a sense of camaraderie, as players would gather together to help each other complete their Pokédexes or acquire rare Pokemon. The thrill of discovering a rare creature in a trade, or the joy of giving a friend the Pokemon they had been searching for, added an emotional layer to the trading experience. Pokemon wasn't just about collecting, it was about building relationships, both with the creatures you caught and with the players you met along the way. Trading also encouraged exploration. In the original Pokemon Red and Blue, some Pokemon were exclusive to one version of the game, meaning players had to trade to complete their collection. This encouraged interaction between players who had different versions of the game. It also pushed players to explore new strategies and consider their team composition more thoughtfully. The idea that some Pokemon could only be obtained through trading meant that trainers had to think beyond their own version of the game, looking for opportunities to connect with other players and build the strongest possible team. As the franchise grew, so did the ways in which players could trade. With the release of Pokemon Gold and Silver in 1999, the Zen's concept of trading was further expanded. Now players could trade across different generations of Pokemon games, opening up a whole new world of possibilities. The introduction of the GTS, Global Trade Station, in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl allowed players to trade Pokemon over the internet, breaking down geographic barriers and allowing players from around the world to connect and trade. The GTS expanded the scope of trading far beyond the limitations of the link cable, allowing trainers to seek out rare Pokemon from all corners of the globe, making the world of Pokemon feel even more interconnected. As technology continued to advance, trading became an even more accessible feature. With the advent of wireless communication in the Nintendo DS and Nintendo 3DS systems, players no longer needed a physical link cable to connect. The advent of the Pokemon Global Link and other online features made it easier for trainers to meet, trade, and battle with others. The addition of new mechanics, such as the Wonder Trade in Pokemon X and Y, further emphasized the importance of trading by allowing players to trade Pokemon at random with other players around the world, bringing an element of surprise and excitement to the process. But even as trading expanded through wireless connections and global networks, the core idea of trading remained the same. At its heart, Pokemon trading has always been about connection, whether connecting with friends, with strangers, or with the Pokemon world itself. Trading is about building relationships and sharing experiences. The thrill of getting a rare Pokemon, the joy of evolving a Pokemon through the power of trade, and the excitement of completing your Pokédex are all part of what has made Pokemon trading such a beloved aspect of the franchise. The impact of trading extends beyond just gameplay. It has become a defining feature of the Pokemon community. From the early days of meeting up with friends to connect with link cables to the modern era of online trades and Pokemon events, trading has always been a way for players to come together. It has created a sense of global unity as trainers from all walks of life connect over their shared love of Pokemon. The shared experience of trading is what has helped Pokemon become more than just a game. It has become a cultural phenomenon, bringing people together across continents, languages, and generations. Trading has also played an essential role in the development of competitive battling. The ability to trade Pokemon with other trainers has allowed players to access rare or competitively viable Pokemon that they may not have been able to find on their own. This exchange of creatures, combined with the deep strategy involved in team building and battling, has made competitive Pokemon battling a rich and diverse landscape. The Pokemon community is built on the foundation of trading, where players are constantly sharing, exchanging, and building this ultimate team. For those who grew up with the link cable and local trades, there is a special nostalgia associated with the process of connecting with another player to trade Pokemon. The sound of the Game Boy connecting, the anticipation of receiving a new Pokemon, and the joy of completing your team through collaboration are memories that many fans hold dear. Even today, as new generations of trainers enter the world of Pokemon, the spirit of trading remains a key part of the experience. As you reflect on the legacy of Pokemon trading, imagine yourself in a world where connections are formed not only through battles, but through the creatures you share. Feel the excitement of trading, the anticipation of what new Pokemon might come your way, and the satisfaction of completing your collection through collaboration. The bond between trainer and Pokemon is not just about what you catch, it's about who you meet along the way and how you work together to build a world full of adventure and friendship. The Pokemon anime is as iconic to the franchise as the games themselves. From its humble beginnings to becoming a global phenomenon, the anime has played an essential role in shaping how the world perceives Pokemon. It has introduced countless generations of fans to the joys of Pokemon, the excitement of battles, and the power of friendship, all through the journey of a young boy named Ash Ketchum and his companion Pikachu. When the Pokemon anime first aired in Japan in 1997, it was clear that it was something special. The show was more than just an adaptation of the games. It was a story about a boy setting out on an adventure to become the very best, like no one ever was. Ash Ketchum, the Pokemon trainer from Pallet Town, became an emblem of determination, resilience, and friendship. With his trusty Pikachu by his side, Ash traveled the world, encountering new Pokemon, facing challenges, and battling rivals, all while learning the true meaning of being a Pokemon trainer. The Pokemon anime was designed to capture the hearts of viewers by blending exciting battles, heartwarming moments, and comedic adventures. Ash's character was relatable to millions of children and adults alike. He was driven by his dream of becoming a Pokemon master, but his journey was not without obstacles. Along the way, he met other aspiring trainers, and together they faced both triumphs and defeats. What made Ash's journey so compelling was his willingness to grow, to learn from his mistakes, and to never give up on his dream, no matter how difficult the road ahead seemed. But what truly set the Pokemon anime apart was its deep connection to the themes of friendship and teamwork. From the very first episode, it was clear that Pokemon were more than just creatures to battle. They were companions. Pikachu, the electric mouse Pokemon, was not just Ash's partner, he was his best friend. Their bond transcended words, built on trust, mutual respect, and a shared desire to succeed. Pikachu's refusal to enter its Pokeball, preferring to stay by Ash's side, became a symbol of their unbreakable friendship. As the anime series continued to evolve, new characters and Pokemon were introduced, adding new dimensions to the world of Pokemon. Misty, the water-type gym leader, and Brock, the rock-type gym leader, were Ash's first companions on his journey. Together, they traveled through the Kanto region, taking on gym leaders, battling fierce rivals, and uncovering the secrets of the Pokemon world. Their friendships were as much a part of the series as the Pokemon themselves. The dynamic between Ash, Misty, and Brock created a heartwarming and relatable group dynamic that viewers could connect with. Each character brought their own unique skills, personalities, and motivations to the team, but it was the unity and support they offered one another that made their adventures truly unforgettable. As Ash continued his journey, the anime moved beyond Kanto, introducing new regions and characters. In Johto, Ash met new friends like Tracy and entered new battles that tested his growing skills as a Pokemon trainer. With each new region came new challenges, rivalries, and friendships, keeping the series fresh and exciting. The world of Pokemon was ever expanding, and so was Ash's quest to become the Pokemon Master. The power of the Pokemon anime lies not just in the battles or the new creatures that Ash and his friends encountered. It's in the underlying message of perseverance, loyalty, and self-discovery. In each new region, Ash encountered new lessons, growing stronger both as a trainer and as a person. Whether it was learning to be patient with his Pokemon, understanding the importance of teamwork, or never giving up in the face of adversity, Ash's journey was one of constant self-improvement. The addition of legendary and mythical Pokemon also played a significant role in the anime. Pokemon like Mewtwo, Lugia, and Ho-Oh added an element of mystery and grandeur to the series, representing the very essence of the unknown and the magical. These legendary creatures were not just powerful, they were symbols of the awe-inspiring and mystical aspects of the Pokemon world. They challenged Ash and his friends to think beyond the normal boundaries of battle and competition, inspiring them to believe in the extraordinary. One of the most significant evolutions in the Pokemon anime came with the introduction of the Battle Frontier in Pokemon Advanced Generation. This new concept pushed Ash's abilities as a Pokemon trainer to the limit, introducing new types of competitions and challenges. The Battle Frontier featured some of the most powerful and experienced trainers Ash had encountered, pushing him to develop new strategies and techniques. The Battle Frontier arc was not just about battling, it was about overcoming inner fears and doubts. It marked a turning point in Ash's character, showing that he was no longer just a young boy with a dream, but a seasoned trainer with the experience to back up his ambition. As the years went by, the Pokemon anime continued to expand with the Diamond and Pearl, Black and White, XY, and Sun and Moon series. Each new series introduced fresh faces, new Pokémon, and new worlds for Ash and his companions to explore. However, despite the changes in location, characters, and regions, one thing remained constant: Ash's unyielding drive to be the best. His adventures took him to the farthest reaches of the Pokémon world, from the Sinnoh region's snow-capped mountains to the lush islands of Alola. Yet the heart of the series remained the same: a boy's journey to master the world of Pokémon, and in doing so, learn about friendship, courage, and determination. The anime also featured movies that added even more depth to the world of Pokémon. These films often focused on powerful legendary Pokémon or special events that expanded on the core themes of the series. Movies like Pokémon, the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back, and Pokémon 2000, The Power of One, became iconic for their emotional depth and exploration of profound themes such as the nature of existence, identity, and the power of friendship. These films were more than just entertaining. They were meaningful narratives that resonated with fans long after they left the theater. As the Pokémon anime continues to this day, it remains an enduring symbol of the franchise's core values: exploration, friendship, perseverance, and the quest to become the very best. With each new episode, Ash continues to inspire new generations of fans to believe in their dreams, to face challenges head-on, and to value the relationships they form along the way. The anime is more than just a show about Pokémon battles. It is a journey that mirrors the adventures of those who watch it, encouraging them to chase their dreams and never give up. As you reflect on the many seasons and characters of the Pokémon anime, imagine yourself embarking on your own adventure. Picture walking alongside Ash, Pikachu, and their friends as they travel the world, encountering new Pokémon and facing new challenges. Let the warmth of their friendship and the excitement of their journey fill you with a sense of wonder and possibility. The Pokémon anime is not just a story, it's a reminder that the greatest adventures are the ones we take together with friends and companions by our side. At the heart of the Pokémon world lies a theme that resonates deeply with every trainer, every Pokémon, and every journey undertaken. It is the power of friendship, a bond that transcends the confines of time, space, and even the fiercest battles. Ash Ketchum, the protagonist of the Pokémon anime, embodies this core value, as his journey is not just one of becoming a Pokémon master, but of forming unbreakable relationships with the Pokémon he encounters and with the people he meets along the way. From the very first episode of the anime, Ash's bond with his first Pokémon, Pikachu, stands as the foundation for the entire series. Unlike the typical trainer-Pokémon relationships seen in the games, where Pokémon are simply tools for battle and collection, Ash's connection to Pikachu is built on mutual respect, trust, and friendship. In the beginning, Pikachu is initially reluctant to bond with Ash. It refuses to stay inside its Pokeball, and it doesn't listen to Ash's commands. This struggle between them, however, serves to highlight a crucial part of their relationship. A relationship that is not built on commands and obedience alone, but on understanding and compromise. Over time, Pikachu comes to trust Ash, and their bond grows stronger with every adventure. Their relationship is far from perfect. They have their differences, and there are moments of frustration and conflict. Yet it is these moments that deepen their connection, as they learn to understand each other's strengths and weaknesses. Pikachu's unshakable loyalty to Ash, even when the going gets tough, serves as a reminder of the pure, selfless nature of true friendship. It is this friendship that fuels Ash's journey, propelling him forward, even in the face of insurmountable odds. Ash's quest to become a Pokémon master is not just about collecting badges or defeating rivals. It is about the emotional growth that comes from his interactions with his Pokémon. Throughout his journey, Ash befriends countless Pokémon, each with its own unique personality and abilities. He doesn't just capture Pokémon to complete his team. He builds relationships with them, each one contributing something different to his understanding of what it means to be a true Pokémon trainer. Take, for example, Ash's relationship with Butterfree, his first Pokémon to evolve. The bond they share is one of quiet understanding, as Ash watches his Caterpie grow, change, and eventually take flight as a fully evolved Butterfree. Though Ash faces the heartbreak of letting Butterfree go in Pokémon, the movie 2000, it is this act of selflessness, this understanding that true love means letting go when the time is right, that teaches Ash an important lesson about friendship. Ash's attachment to his Pokémon is not rooted in ownership, but in a desire for them to grow and be free. The true essence of friendship, as Ash learns time and time again, is not about control, it's about mutual respect and the freedom to grow. As Ash continues his journey, he encounters a wide array of Pokémon, each with its own challenges and stories. His bond with Pikachu may be the strongest, but Ash's relationship with other Pokémon like Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur is equally important. These Pokémon are not just his team members, they are his friends, and through them, he learns to be more than just a trainer. They teach him valuable life lessons, from learning patience to understanding the importance of perseverance. The theme of friendship is also explored in Ash's relationships with the people around him. His companions, such as Misty and Brock, are more than just traveling partners. They are his closest friends, the ones who support him when he's feeling uncertain or down. Ash's friendships with Misty and Brock, in particular, demonstrate the importance of teamwork, not just in battles, but in life. Each of them brings a different perspective to the journey, and together they become an unbreakable team, each one contributing something vital to the success of their shared goals. The loyalty and support they offer one another are foundational to the narrative of Ash's journey, and their friendship is as integral to his development as any battle or challenge he faces. Over the years, Ash's quest also involves the many rivals and challenges he faces. Rivals such as Gary Oak and Paul test Ash's resolve, pushing him to refine his skills, his strategies, and his approach to Pokémon training. However, even in these competitive relationships, friendship remains a guiding force. Though Ash and Gary have their differences, it is clear that their rivalry is rooted in mutual respect. Gary, in his own way, recognizes Ash's unwavering dedication and passion, and despite the tension between them, their rivalry ultimately strengthens their bond. Paul, a more serious and distant rival, challenges Ash to think deeply about his methods and philosophy when it comes to Pokémon training. Through these rivals, Ash learns that competition is not only about winning, it is about improving and pushing oneself to become better, and it is through these challenges that Ash's character matures. Even in moments of hardship and loss, Ash's friendship with his Pokémon shines through. In Pokémon, the movie 2000, When Ash faces off against the legendary birds of the seas, it is not his raw power that saves the day, but the bond of friendship he shares with his Pokémon. Ash is willing to sacrifice everything to protect his friends and the world around him. His selfless love for his Pokémon and the sacrifices he makes speaks to the ultimate theme of the Pokémon series, that love and friendship are more powerful than any physical strength or battle strategy. Ash's growth as a Pokémon trainer is inextricably tied to his ability to form these deep emotional connections with his Pokémon. It is his heart, not just his strength or skill, that makes him a true Pokémon master. Along the way, Ash faces challenges that test not only his abilities as a trainer, but his capacity to be a good friend, a compassionate leader, and a loyal companion. Through these trials, Ash learns that the true power of being a Pokémon master is not about collecting the most powerful Pokémon or winning every battle. It is about the relationships he builds, the loyalty he earns, and the way he inspires those around him. Throughout his journey, Ash shows that true strength comes from within, that it is the strength of one's character, the bonds of friendship, and the determination to never give up that ultimately leads to success. Whether he is facing a powerful rival or confronting a difficult choice, Ash's ability to put others first and value the friendships that matter most to him sets him apart from the other trainers. His quest to become a Pokémon master is not just a personal ambition. It is a testament to the power of friendship and the lessons that come from learning, growing, and evolving together with those we care about. The Pokémon trading card game, TCG, is one of the most significant and enduring aspects of the Pokémon franchise, extending the magic of Pokémon from the video games and anime into the hands of millions. What started as a simple card game has grown into a worldwide phenomenon, with tournaments, collections, and competitive play shaping a unique part of the Pokémon experience. The TCG has become a world in its own right, where the collection, strategy, and trading of cards is as integral to the experience as the Pokémon creatures themselves. The story of the Pokémon trading card game begins in 1996, the same year that the original Pokémon games were released. The Pokémon Company, in collaboration with game designers and artists, created a card game that would allow fans to collect their favorite Pokémon and battle them in a new, strategic way. The first set of cards was released in Japan under the name A Pocket Monsters card game, and the game's popularity quickly spread across the world. The goal was simple: build a deck of Pokémon cards, each representing a different Pokémon, and use them to battle against another player's deck. The excitement of collecting cards and using them in battles immediately captured the hearts of fans, much like the video games and anime. The card game's mechanics, though simple at first, quickly evolved into a deep and complex system. Players could choose from a variety of different types of Pokémon, each with its own strengths and weaknesses, as well as trainer cards and energy cards that influenced gameplay. The original cards featured iconic Pokémon like Pikachu, Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur, and their designs were instantly recognizable to fans of the franchise. Players could use these cards in a strategic way, organizing their decks to maximize the potential of their Pokémon and outsmart their opponents. But the Pokémon TCG wasn't just about the gameplay, it was about the joy of collecting. As with the video games, fans were eager to collect the different Pokémon cards, each one representing a new creature or a different version of a familiar favorite. Some cards were rarer than others, and the thrill of opening a pack and discovering a rare card was an experience that brought players back for more. The concept of rare cards, like the holographic Charizard, added a layer of excitement to the TCG, as players could trade and collect to complete their sets and find the elusive cards they sought. Trading became an essential part of the TCG experience, just as it had in the games. Players could trade cards with each other to build their ideal decks, and the act of trading became a social experience that brought people together. Much like in the Pokémon games, where trading was key to completing the Pokédex, the Pokémon TCG fostered a sense of community. Fans would gather at local events, schoolyards, or trading conventions, swapping cards and sharing their passion for the game. The trading culture within the Pokémon TCG grew so large that entire tournaments and events were dedicated to it, with collectors and players coming together to exchange their rarest cards and to battle in high-stakes tournaments. Over time, the Pokémon TCG began to evolve, introducing new sets of cards, new mechanics, and new formats for play. Some sets focused on new regions, like Johto or Hoenn, introducing new Pokémon and new strategies. Others introduced new mechanics, like the concept of special Pokémon cards, EX, GX, or V cards, that were more powerful and had unique abilities. The introduction of new types of cards, like energy cards and trainer cards, added layers of complexity and strategy, making each battle a unique and exciting experience. These changes kept the game fresh, and every new set of cards introduced new ways to build decks, craft strategies, and challenge opponents. The rise of online play also expanded the reach of the Pokémon TCG. Digital versions of the game, like Pokémon Trading Card Game Online, allowed players to build their decks, battle others, and trade cards in a virtual environment. This digital format brought the game to a new generation of players who could now enjoy the thrill of Pokémon TCG battles without needing physical cards. It also allowed players to access the entire world of Pokémon TCG, finding rare cards and opponents from around the globe, further connecting the community. The Pokémon TCG has also been central to the competitive scene, with official tournaments held worldwide. The Pokémon World Championships is one of the biggest events in the TCG calendar, where the best players from around the world compete for the title of Pokémon TCG World Champion. These tournaments are an opportunity for fans to showcase their skills, their strategies, and their passion for the game, while also offering a chance to meet other players and share in the joy of Pokémon. The competitive nature of the TCG has fostered a dedicated community of players who continuously refine their decks, study the game's evolving mechanics, and compete for glory. Beyond competitive play, the TCG also plays a vital role in the broader Pokémon culture. Collecting cards has become a hobby for many, with rare and vintage cards becoming valuable commodities. Cards like the first edition Charizard have become iconic in their own right, sought after by collectors and investors alike. Some cards, particularly the ones from the early sets, have increased in value over the years, with a select few now worth thousands of dollars. The world of Pokémon TCG collecting is vast, filled with rare finds, limited edition cards, and unique artwork that appeal to collectors of all ages. What makes the Pokémon trading card game so enduring is its ability to evolve with the times while staying true to its roots. The thrill of opening a pack, the joy of completing a set, the strategy behind crafting the perfect deck. These are experiences that resonate with players, whether they are newcomers or veterans. The TCG has connected fans around the world, creating a community built on the love of Pokémon and the excitement of competition. It is a world where creativity, strategy, and passion come together, and where the bonds between players are as important as the cards they hold. As you reflect on the world of Pokémon trading cards, imagine the excitement of discovering a rare card, the thrill of opening a pack, and the joy of completing your collection. Picture yourself sitting at a table with friends, trading cards, building decks, and sharing stories of your battles. Whether you are a collector, a competitive player, or someone who simply enjoys the art and design of the cards, the world of Pokémon TCG is a place where friendships are formed, strategies are honed, and memories are made. In the world of Pokémon, the regions are not just geographical locations, they are entire worlds in themselves, each with its own unique characteristics, history, and culture. Each region introduces new Pokémon, new challenges, and new environments that expand the Pokémon universe and provide the backdrop for the adventures of every new generation of trainers. From the familiar landscapes of Kanto to the modern-day streets of Galar, each region is a vital part of the Pokémon journey, offering players a new world to explore and conquer. The story of Pokémon begins in the Kanto region. Kanto is the birthplace of the Pokémon franchise, the region where trainers first began their journeys, capturing Pokémon, battling gym leaders, and striving to become the Pokémon champion. It is a region defined by its simplicity and charm, with its quiet towns, bustling cities, and diverse environments. From the grassy roots surrounding Pallet Town to the towering peaks of Met Silver, Kanto offers trainers a balanced experience of exploration, training, and discovery. Kanto is also the region that introduced the very first Pokémon, those 151 creatures that captured the imaginations of millions. Pokémon like Pikachu, Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle became beloved figures, each one embodying the core principles of Pokémon: friendship, teamwork, and growth. The iconic Viridian Forest, the peaceful Lavender Town, and the towering Pokémon League all contribute to Kanto's legacy, making it not just a region, but the foundation upon which the entire Pokémon world is built. Following Kanto, the Johto region introduced players to new Pokémon, new gym leaders, and an expanded world. Johto's design drew inspiration from traditional Japanese culture, with its architecture, landscapes, and even the mythology of the region. The towns in Johto, such as Goldenrod City and Ecruteak City, are steeped in history and offer a more tranquil, reflective atmosphere compared to Kanto's hustle and bustle. Johto introduced new gameplay elements, such as the day-night cycle and the concept of Pokémon breeding, making the experience even more immersive. The addition of new legendary Pokémon, like Lugia and Ho-Oh, brought a sense of grandeur and mystery to the region. These legendary figures were not just powerful, they were central to the lore of Johto, representing themes of creation, balance, and protection. Johto also expanded the Pokémon world in meaningful ways, introducing new challenges and deepening the mythology surrounding Pokémon. With the inclusion of the Johto-exclusive Pokémon like Totodile, Chikorita, and Cyndaquil, the region cemented itself as an essential chapter in the Pokémon story. Hoenn, introduced in Pokémon Ruby and Pokémon Sapphire, marked a departure from the more familiar landscapes of Kanto and Johto. Hoenn's geography is defined by its vast oceans, islands, and rainforests. The region's emphasis on water and nature gave it a distinctly tropical feel, with lush, vibrant environments that were unlike anything seen before in the Pokémon world. Hoenn's diverse ecosystems, from the deep blue seas to the rugged mountain peaks, created a rich world for players to explore. The introduction of new Pokémon like Trico, Torchic, and Mudkip added another layer of depth to the game, giving players fresh creatures to capture, train, and evolve. Hoenn also introduced new mechanics, including double battles, which added a layer of complexity to the strategic elements of Pokémon battles. The concept of Pokémon contests, where trainers showcased their Pokémon's beauty and skills, added another element of excitement and variety to the Hoenn experience. Sinnoh, introduced in Pokémon Diamond and Pokémon Pearl, brought a more mystical and mysterious atmosphere to the Pokémon world. Sinnoh's geography is dominated by ancient ruins, towering mountains, and frozen landscapes. The region is steeped in mythology, with the legendary Pokémon Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina representing time, space, and antimatter, respectively. These cosmic forces gave Sinnoh a unique sense of wonder, as players journeyed through the region to uncover its secrets and unlock the mysteries of the universe. Sinnoh also introduced new evolutionary mechanics, such as the introduction of evolutions through special items like the Shiny Stone and Dawnstone. Pokémon like Turtwig, Chimchar, and Piplup became fan favorites, each embodying the core themes of Sinnoh: endurance, determination, and friendship. Sinnoh's focus on the ancient and the mysterious also added a deeper layer of lore to the Pokémon world, with the region's rich history and connection to legendary figures shaping the narratives of both the games and the anime. Unova, the setting for Pokémon Black and Pokémon White, was a stark contrast to the previous regions. Inspired by the diverse landscapes of North America, Unova brought a modern, industrialized feel to the Pokémon world. The region's cities were filled with towering skyscrapers, and its streets were buzzing with the energy of a fast-paced, progressive society. Unova was also unique in that it featured an entirely new set of Pokémon, leaving behind many of the creatures from the previous regions. The introduction of Pokémon like Snivy, Tepig, and Oshawott marked the beginning of a new era for the franchise. Unova also brought new gameplay mechanics, including the concept of seasons, which changed the environment and available Pokémon based on the in-game time of year. The region's storyline focused on themes of liberation and justice, with the introduction of Team Plasma, a group that sought to challenge the ethics of Pokémon training. This narrative added a deeper layer of complexity to the story, pushing players to consider the moral implications of their role as trainers. Kalos, inspired by France, marked the beginning of the 6th generation of Pokémon with Pokémon X and Pokémon Y. Kalos was a region of beauty and elegance, with its majestic cities, charming towns, and sweeping landscapes. The region was defined by its sense of refinement, both in terms of its architecture and its focus on the concept of mega evolution. This new mechanic, which allowed certain Pokémon to temporarily evolve into more powerful forms, added a new layer of strategy to battles and changed the way players approached training and team building. Kalos also introduced a new set of Pokémon, including the Fairy type, which balanced the established types and created new opportunities for strategic play. The legendary Pokemon Xerneas and Yveltal, representing life and death, were central to the story of Kalos, embodying the region's themes of balance and the cycle of existence. Kalos's focus on beauty and grace was reflected not just in its environment, but in the Pokemon and characters who inhabited it. The Galar region, introduced in Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, brought the franchise to a new level with its emphasis on competition, sportsmanship, and dynamism. Inspired by the United Kingdom, Galar was a region of both old-world charm and modern-day excitement. Its landscapes featured lush forests, snowy mountains, and vast fields, while its cities reflected the energy of a vibrant, bustling society. Galar's story focused on the importance of teamwork and sportsmanship, with the region's Pokemon League structured as a large-scale competition called the Gym Challenge. Trainers competed in front of large crowds, and the battles were treated like high-profile sports events. This sense of excitement and spectacle was amplified by the introduction of Dynamaxing, a new mechanic that allowed Pokemon to grow to massive sizes, adding an element of surprise and grandeur to the battles. Galar also introduced a new generation of Pokemon, including the starters Grookey, Scorbunny, and Sobble, each representing different aspects of Galar's environment and culture. The region's legendary Pokemon, Zacian and Zamazenta, were symbols of strength and courage and protection, embodying the region's values of honor and unity. Each of these regions, Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, Kalos, and Galar, contributes something unique to the overarching story of Pokemon. They each offer different environments, themes, and challenges for trainers to explore, and they each leave their mark on the Pokemon world. As the franchise continues to evolve, new regions will undoubtedly bring fresh adventures, new Pokemon, and new stories. But the legacy of these iconic regions will always remain at the heart of the Pokemon journey. The world of Pokemon is filled with countless creatures, each with its own unique abilities, characteristics, and stories. However, there are a select group of Pokemon that stand above the rest, those whose powers transcend the ordinary, whose stories are shrouded in myth and mystery. These Pokemon are the legendary and mythical Pokemon, rare and often elusive beings that are central to the lore of the Pokemon world. Their stories are woven into the fabric of each region, and their presence marks significant moments in the history of the Pokemon universe. In the Kanto region, the very first legendary Pokemon were introduced in the original Pokemon Red and Blue games. Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, the legendary birds, became symbols of the power and majesty of nature. Articuno, the ice type, represented the cold winds of winter, while Zapdos, the electric type, symbolized the thunderstorm, and Moltres, the fire type, embodied the wild, untamed force of fire. These three Pokemon were not only powerful, but also connected to the elements themselves, representing the forces that shaped the world of Pokemon. In addition to the legendary birds, Mewtwo, the genetic clone of Mew, played a significant role in Kanto's mythology. Created through human intervention, Mewtwo was a creature born from both science and tragedy. Its story is one of self-discovery and conflict, as Mewtwo wrestles with its origins and its place in the world. As one of the most powerful and emotionally complex legendary Pokemon, Mewtwo's presence in Kanto represented the clash between humanity's ambition and the natural world. Moving on to Johto, the legendary Pokemon of the region were closely tied to themes of creation, balance, and protection. The duo of Ho-Oh and Lugia became central figures in Johto's mythos, representing opposing but complementary forces. Ho-Oh, the embodiment of life and rebirth, was said to have the power to bring new life to the world, while Lugia, the guardian of the seas, was a symbol of protection and harmony. These two legendary Pokemon were the guardians of Johto, each playing a crucial role in maintaining the balance of the world. The legendary birds of Johto, articulated through the Pokemon's connection to Ho-Oh, remained a key part of the region's spiritual and natural fabric. Alongside Ho-Oh and Lugia were the three legendary beasts, Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. These Pokemon were born from the fires of a legendary disaster and became symbols of nature's uncontrollable forces. Raikou, the electric type, represented the power of lightning, while Entei, the fire type, symbolized volcanic eruption and destruction, and Suicune, the water type, embodied the purity and serenity of the flowing rivers. Together, they added another layer to Johto's mythology, each representing different aspects of the natural world and the dynamic forces that shape it. The Hoenn region introduced another set of legendary Pokemon that were deeply connected to the elements and the world's creation. Kyogre, the sea basin Pokemon, and Groudon, the continent Pokemon, represented the forces of water and land, respectively. Their rivalry symbolized the eternal struggle between the oceans and the earth, with Kyogre's power to create storms and floods pitted against Groudon's ability to create land masses and cause drought. These two legendary Pokemon were central to the story of Hoenn, where their battle would shape the future of the world. The introduction of Rayquaza, the sky-high Pokemon, added another layer to this cosmic conflict, as Rayquaza, a dragon-like Pokemon, was tasked with preventing the destructive battle between Kyogre and Groudon. In addition to the legendary Pokemon of Hoenn, the region also introduced Deoxys, a mythical Pokemon that came from space. Deoxys, the DNA Pokemon, was not tied to any particular element or force, but instead represented the mysteries of space and alien life. Its origins, its abilities, and its otherworldly nature made Deoxys one of the most intriguing mythical Pokemon in the series. In Sinnoh, the legendary Pokemon were tied to the very structure of the universe itself. Dialga, the temporal Pokemon, controlled time, while Palkia, the spatial Pokemon, ruled over space. Together, they represented the fundamental elements that shaped the cosmos. The rivalry between Dialga and Palkia reflected the delicate balance between time and space, with their conflict threatening the very fabric of existence. Giratina, the Pokemon that existed in the Distortion world, added a further layer of complexity to Sinnoh's mythology. Giratina represented antimatter and the chaos that exists outside of the known universe, and its role in the Sinnoh mythos suggested that not all forces in the world of Pokemon could be understood or controlled. The mythical Pokemon of Sinnoh included the creation trio, Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf, who were said to have shaped the world's knowledge, emotion, and willpower. These three Pokemon, though not as physically imposing as the legendary Pokemon, played an equally important role in the creation of the Pokemon world. Their powers and influence were felt across the universe, and they represented the core aspects of consciousness and existence. In Unova, the legendary and mythical Pokemon were tied to themes of ideals, truth, and the nature of freedom. Reshiram and Zekrom, the two dragons of Unova, were embodiments of truth and ideals. Reshiram, the fire type, represented truth, while Zekrom, the electric type, embodied ideals. Their rivalry was not just a physical battle, but a philosophical one, as they represented the very core of the region's narrative. The stories of these two legendary Pokémon explored the ideas of honesty, ambition, and the moral dilemmas that arise when individuals pursue their dreams without compromise. In addition to Reshiram and Zekrom, the Unova region introduced Kyurem, a legendary Pokémon whose true form was incomplete. Kyurem represented the concept of the void, the absence of both truth and ideals, and its connection to the other two dragons reflected the complex relationships between the elements of balance, power, and destiny. Kalos introduced the concept of mega evolution, but it was also home to the legendary Pokémon Xerneas, Yveltal, and Zygarde. Xerneas, the fairy type, represented life and vitality, while Yveltal, the dark type, symbolized destruction and death. These two Pokémon represented the cyclical nature of life, where one could not exist without the other. Zygarde, the Order Pokémon, represented the balance between these two forces, maintaining harmony in the world. The trio of legendary Pokémon in Kalos emphasized the importance of balance in the Pokémon world and the role of nature in maintaining that equilibrium. The Galar region introduced Zacian and Zamakenta, the legendary Pokémon that represented the sword and the shield. These two Pokémon were tied to the region's history, with their lore deeply embedded in Galar's cultural identity. Zacian, the sword Pokémon, was a symbol of strength and valor, while Zamakenta, the shield Pokémon, represented protection and endurance. Together, they embodied the virtues of heroism and sacrifice. Eternatus, the third legendary Pokémon in Galar, added a new element to the lore, representing a powerful force of destruction that threatened the very fabric of Galar's existence. Each region's legendary and mythical Pokémon are more than just powerful creatures. They are symbols of the world's history, culture, and natural forces. They represent the values of their respective regions, and their stories are woven into the very fabric of the Pokémon universe. These rare and mystical Pokémon continue to captivate players, offering them a sense of awe and wonder as they explore the depths of the Pokémon world and uncover the mysteries behind these legendary beings. One of the defining elements of the Pokémon franchise has always been the relationships between trainers, specifically the rivalries that emerge throughout the journey. In every region, players face off against rivals who push them to become better trainers, to grow, and to evolve their strategies. These rivalries add depth to the Pokémon world, creating a dynamic tension that drives the narrative forward and challenges players to strive for greatness. However, few rivalries are as iconic as the one between Red and Blue, which defined the beginning of the Pokémon saga and set the tone for all future rivalries in the series. In the original Pokémon Red and Blue games, players assume the role of a young trainer who sets out on a journey to become the Pokémon champion. Along the way, they encounter their rival, Blue, an ambitious, confident, and often smug character who challenges the player at every turn. From the very beginning of the game, Blue is set up as a formidable opponent, one who is always just a step ahead of the player, always pushing them to become better. This rivalry serves as a motivating force throughout the game, giving players a sense of urgency and determination as they progress through the world of Kanto. Blue, as a rival, is more than just a competitor. He represents the ultimate challenge to the player's growth as a Pokemon trainer. Unlike other trainers the player faces in the game, Blue is not just a random opponent. He is a reflection of the player's own potential. He is the embodiment of the goal to become the best, and his presence in the game pushes the player to prove themselves worthy of that title. His constant challenge serves as both a reflection of the player's progress and a reminder that there is always someone out there striving for the same goal. As the player continues their journey through Kanto, they face Blue multiple times, each encounter representing a different stage of the player's growth. In these battles, the player must adapt, refine their strategies, and ultimately surpass their rival. What makes this rivalry so compelling is not just the battles themselves, but the deeper emotional stakes that are involved. As the player faces Blue, they are not just fighting for a title or for glory. They are fighting to prove that they have what it takes to be a true Pokemon master. Each victory over Blue feels earned, and each defeat is a reminder that there is always room for improvement. The climax of the rivalry between Red and Blue comes at the Pokemon League, where the player finally faces off against Blue for the title of champion. This battle is the culmination of the player's journey, and it is here that the rivalry reaches its peak. The player's relationship with Blue has evolved over the course of the game, from a simple competitor to a true rival, and finally to a challenge that must be overcome in order to achieve the ultimate goal. The battle with Blue is not just about defeating him, it is about proving that the player has grown and evolved into a Pokemon champion in their own right. In Pokemon Gold and Silver, Blue's role as the rival was expanded further, but in the Johto region, the rivalry took on a different tone. Here, the player was introduced to a new rival, Silver, an intense and brooding character who served as a foil to the player's more optimistic approach to training. Silver's journey, unlike Blue's, was one of personal growth and redemption. Whereas Blue represented a challenge to the player's skills, Silver represented a challenge to the player's values. His actions were often harsh and ruthless, and he served as a stark contrast to the player's more humble approach. Silver's rivalry with the player was defined by their differing views on what it meant to be a Pokemon trainer. Throughout Gold and Silver, Silver was constantly pushing the player to become stronger, often through harsh methods that emphasized power over compassion. However, as the game progressed, Silver's character arc unfolded. He began to realize the importance of understanding Pokemon, and by the end of the game, his transformation into a more thoughtful and compassionate trainer provided a powerful narrative of personal growth. This evolution of Silver's character turned their rivalry into a story of redemption, and his eventual acceptance of the player's approach highlighted the themes of friendship and mutual respect that run throughout the Pokemon series. Silver's story is a testament to the fact that rivalries in Pokemon are not simply about competition or defeating an opponent. They are about the growth of both individuals, the lessons learned through conflict, and the eventual realization that success is not defined by defeating others, but by understanding oneself and the world around them. Silver's rivalry with the player is a reflection of the Pokemon universe's deeper message: that being the best is not just about power. It is about empathy, understanding, and the willingness to evolve. As the franchise continued, so too did the evolution of rivalries. In Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire, the rival became May or Brendan, depending on the version played, and this character's rivalry with the player was more friendly and supportive than the antagonistic relationships seen in earlier games. This change reflected a shift in the tone of the Pokémon series, as rivalries became less about intense competition and more about mutual growth. In Hoenn, the player's rival was not someone to be beaten in order to prove oneself. Rather, they were a partner in the journey, someone to share the experience with, to learn from, and to challenge in a friendly way. The idea of rivalries continued to evolve in later generations as the player's relationship with their rivals became more complex and nuanced. In Pokémon Black and White, the rivalry with Cheren and Bianca took on a more philosophical tone, as the characters' differing views on what it meant to be a Pokémon trainer led to moments of introspection and reflection. Cheren, with his steadfast dedication to becoming the best, represented the more traditional approach to Pokémon training, while Bianca, with her more carefree attitude, represented a more relaxed and personal view of the journey. These rivalries were not just about defeating the opponent, but about understanding different approaches to the Pokémon world. Each rival offered a different perspective on what it meant to be a Pokémon trainer, and each encounter with them was an opportunity to learn, grow, and reflect on the player's own values. The friendly competition between these characters reinforced the idea that the Pokémon world is one of endless possibilities, where every trainer has their own path to follow. The idea of the rival as a reflection of the player's growth and development reached its zenith in Pokémon Sun and Moon, where the rivalry with Hau and the enigmatic character of Team Skull's Guzma represented the balance between light-hearted joy and serious ambition. These characters embodied the diversity of approaches to training, from Hau's carefree and joyful attitude to Guzma's intense, albeit misguided, desire for power. As you think about the rivalries that define the Pokémon world, let your mind wander to the competitive nature of these relationships. The rivalry is not just about battles, it is about growth and self-discovery and learning from both victories and defeats. The rivalry with Blue taught players the value of competition and determination, while the rivalry with Silver showed the importance of personal growth and redemption. Every rivalry in the Pokémon world, whether friendly or antagonistic, pushes the player to become a better trainer and a better person. While the player's rivalry with other trainers is a defining feature of their journey, another constant presence in the world of Pokémon is the battle against the criminal organizations that seek to exploit the power of Pokémon for their own gain. Among these organizations, Team Rocket is perhaps the most iconic, becoming a symbol of both the challenges trainers face and the darker side of the Pokémon world. Team Rocket first appears in the Kanto region as a group of criminals bent on stealing rare and powerful Pokémon to use for their own nefarious purposes. Led by the infamous Giovanni, Team Rocket's primary goal is to gain control of powerful Pokémon, such as the legendary Mewtwo, and use them to further their criminal empire. The team is known for their devious schemes, which range from stealing Pokémon from trainers to trying to manipulate the very forces of nature to their advantage. Giovanni, as the leader of Team Rocket, is a figure who represents the ambition and corruption that can arise from the pursuit of power. His calm demeanor, combined with his ruthless tactics, makes him one of the most memorable antagonists in the Pokémon series. Giovanni's desire to control the power of Pokémon is not rooted in a love for them, but in a lust for dominance and wealth. His cold, calculating nature sets him apart from other villains in the series, making him a truly formidable adversary. However, despite his power and ambition, Giovanni's downfall is a result of his own hubris and disregard for the bonds that exist between trainers and their Pokémon. Team Rocket's presence in Kanto is not just about the battle between good and evil. It's also a reflection of the darker side of the Pokémon world. The organization's exploitation of Pokémon and their disregard for the creature's well-being highlight the ethical challenges that trainers face in their journey. As the player progresses through Kanto, they not only battle gym leaders and rivals, but also confront the moral question of what it means to use Pokémon as tools for personal gain. Team Rocket's actions serve as a stark contrast to the player's more ethical approach, reinforcing the idea that true strength lies not in control, but in partnership and mutual respect. Despite Giovanni's cold ambition, Team Rocket also introduces a dynamic and somewhat comedic element to the series through the trio of Jessie, James, and Meowth. These three members of Team Rocket have become synonymous with the franchise, appearing in almost every generation of games and anime. Unlike Giovanni, Jessie, James, and Meowth are not driven by a desire for wealth or power, but by a constant desire to capture Ash's Pikachu and become successful criminals. While they are consistently thwarted by Ash and his friends, their antics provide a source of humor and lightheartedness amidst the more serious battles. Jessie and James's rivalry with Ash and Pikachu is a recurring motif throughout the anime. Their often bungled schemes to steal Pikachu, along with their over-the-top personalities, make them both lovable and frustrating villains. Despite their repeated failures, Jessie and James are determined, relentless, and remain a constant thorn in Ash's side. This rivalry, while initially rooted in their desire for Pikachu, evolves into something more complex. Over time, Jessie, James, and Meowth begin to show moments of empathy and growth, especially as they interact with Ash and his friends. Their rivalry becomes less about winning and more about understanding their own place in the world and their relationship with the Pokémon they use. This complex dynamic makes Team Rocket more than just a typical villainous group. They are characters who, despite their flaws, are constantly evolving. In Pokémon Gold and Pokémon Silver, Team Rocket's return to the Johto region added a new layer to their story. Giovanni, the mastermind behind the original Team Rocket, had disappeared, and the remnants of the organization were now led by the ruthless executive, Ariana. In these games, Team Rocket's focus shifted from merely stealing Pokémon to exploiting the power of the legendary Pokémon, particularly the Creation Trio, Lugia, and Ho-Oh. The stakes were raised as Team Rocket sought to control these powerful beings and use their abilities for personal gain. The battle against Team Rocket in Johto became a more personal one, as the player not only fought to stop their criminal activities, but also to prevent them from upsetting the balance of the Pokémon world. In the Pokémon Ruby and Pokémon Sapphire games, A new set of antagonistic teams appeared, Team Magma and Team Aqua. While they were not directly tied to Team Rocket, these organizations introduced a new dynamic of rivalry within the Pokémon world. Team Magma sought to expand the land by awakening the legendary Groudon, while Team Aqua aimed to expand the oceans by awakening Kyogre. Both organizations were driven by their desire to control nature itself, and their rivalry reflected the ongoing theme of balance and control. However, like Team Rocket, these teams were ultimately thwarted by the player, who worked to restore harmony and prevent the misuse of Pokémon for selfish purposes. The theme of rivalry and power continues in later generations, especially with the introduction of teams like Team Plasma in Pokémon Black and White. Team Plasma's leader, N, presents a new challenge to the player by questioning the ethics of Pokémon training. Unlike Team Rocket, whose actions were motivated by greed, Team Plasma's desire to liberate Pokémon reflects a more philosophical approach to the use of Pokémon. N's belief that Pokémon should be free from human control challenges the player's understanding of the relationship between trainers and their Pokémon. This rivalry is not just about defeating the antagonist. It is about confronting the very moral implications of the player's role as a trainer and understanding the complexities of the Pokémon world. In Pokémon X and Y, Team Flare introduces a more sinister version of the rivalry driven by a desire for global destruction and domination. Led by the charismatic Lysandre, Team Flare's goal is to destroy the world, to create a new one under their control. The team's actions are motivated by a desire for beauty and perfection, but their methods are harsh and destructive. The rivalry with Team Flare forces the player to confront the idea of how far one should go in the pursuit of their ideals. The contrast between Lysandre's vision of perfection and the player's more balanced approach to Pokémon training is another example of how rivalry is used in the Pokémon series to explore deeper themes of power, control, and morality. In Pokémon Sun and Moon, Team Skull represents a different kind of rivalry. Rather than being a traditional criminal organization, Team Skull is made up of misfits and outcasts, often portrayed as comical rather than menacing. Their leader, Guzma, is a complicated figure. Once a promising trainer, he now leads Team Skull in a misguided attempt to reclaim lost glory. The rivalry with Team Skull is more personal, as Guzma's struggles with his own identity and the rejection of his past are central to the conflict. This rivalry is less about villainy and more about the battle for self-acceptance and the desire to prove one's worth. As you reflect on Team Rocket and the many rivalries throughout the Pokémon world, let the complexities of these relationships guide your thoughts. Whether it is the pure ambition of Giovanni, the heartfelt redemption of Silver, or the philosophical debate with N, the rivalries in Pokémon are about more than just battles. They are about the challenges that every trainer faces in their journey to understanding themselves, their Pokémon, and the world around them. The culmination of every Pokémon trainer's journey is the challenge of the Pokémon League, a test of strength, strategy, and spirit that serves as the final hurdle before a trainer can claim the title of champion. The Pokémon League is not just a tournament or a collection of battles. It is the heart of the Pokémon world, where everything a trainer has learned throughout their journey is put to the ultimate test. From the first games in the Kanto region to the most recent entries, The Pokemon League has always been a place where dreams are realized, and the bond between trainers and their Pokemon is forged in the heat of battle. The structure of the Pokemon League is a familiar one. Trainers must first defeat the 8 gym leaders of a region to earn their badges, and then face the Elite Four, a group of the region's most powerful trainers. The final step is the showdown with the Pokemon League champion, a battle that will determine who stands as the true Pokemon Master. While this basic structure has remained largely the same across generations, the significance of the Pokemon League and the challenges it presents have evolved, reflecting the growth of both the franchise and the characters who participate in it. The journey to the Pokemon League is always filled with challenges. As a trainer progresses through a region, they face not only the gym leaders, but also a variety of wild Pokemon, rival trainers, and sometimes even criminal organizations. These obstacles serve to prepare the trainer for the ultimate challenge that lies ahead. Each battle, each victory, and each defeat adds a layer of experience that helps to shape the trainer's growth. Along the way, trainers develop their skills, refine their strategies, and most importantly, strengthen the bonds they share with their Pokemon. At the Pokemon League itself, the stakes are higher than ever. The Elite Four represent the pinnacle of skill in each region, and they each specialize in a particular type of Pokemon, making each battle a unique and complex challenge. Trainers must adapt to the Elite Four's strategies, using their knowledge of Pokemon types, moves, and abilities to outsmart their opponents. The battles are never easy, and each member of the Elite Four tests a different aspect of a trainer's abilities. Whether it is Lorelei's mastery of Ice-type Pokemon, Lance's command of Dragon types, or the formidable psychic prowess of Kanto's Elite Four member Sabrina, each challenge forces the trainer to think critically and react quickly. The Elite Four, however, are not the final test. Once they have been defeated, the trainer must face the Pokemon League champion, the ultimate rival who has successfully overcome every challenge in the region. The champion represents the culmination of the journey, embodying the qualities of perseverance, skill, and knowledge that every trainer aspires to. It is this final battle that solidifies the trainer's place as a true Pokemon master. The league champion is often portrayed as a formidable opponent, whose team of Pokemon represents the very best the region has to offer. Beating the champion is no small feat. It is a victory that demonstrates the trainer's mastery of every lesson learned along the way. But beyond the mechanics of battles and the thrill of victory, the Pokemon League also serves as a test of heart. The league is not just a place to prove who is the strongest. It is a place where the bond between trainer and Pokemon is tested in the most profound way. The true power of Pokemon battles lies not in raw strength or strategy, but in the connection between trainer and their Pokemon. As trainers face the Elite Four and the champion, they are reminded that their Pokemon are not just tools for victory, they are partners, friends, and companions who grow alongside them. The Pokemon League, in this sense, becomes a celebration of the journey shared between trainer and Pokemon, a moment where their mutual growth is reflected in every battle. One of the most profound aspects of the Pokemon League is how it tests the emotional resilience of the trainers. As they battle their way through the Elite Four and face their final opponent, trainers often experience moments of doubt, fear, and uncertainty. But these moments are an essential part of the journey. Each challenge is an opportunity for growth, for understanding that the journey is as important as the destination. It is through the struggles, the losses, and the triumphs that trainers learn the most about themselves and their Pokémon. The Pokémon League is not just a physical test of battle, it is a psychological and emotional test of the heart, where only those who truly understand the bond with their Pokémon can emerge victorious. This theme of heart is beautifully exemplified in the stories of certain trainers throughout the series. Ash Ketchum, for instance, consistently faces moments where his ability to grow as a trainer is tested not by his battle skills, but by his capacity for empathy and his unyielding belief in his Pokémon. Whether it is his loyalty to Pikachu, his compassion for Pokémon in need, or his unwavering resolve to do what is right, Ash's journey through the Pokémon League reflects a deeper understanding of what it means to be a Pokémon trainer. His growth is not just about his skill in battle, it is about the heart he brings to each and every challenge, the care he shows for his Pokémon, and the emotional strength that allows him to overcome adversity. The same can be said for many other characters throughout the Pokémon world. From the moments of self-doubt that Misty, Brock, and other companions experience, to the trials faced by rivals like Gary Oak, the theme of personal growth and emotional resilience is at the heart of every journey to the Pokémon League. It is not just the battles that define a trainer. It is how they approach each challenge, how they support their Pokémon, and how they remain true to their values, despite the pressure and obstacles that come their way. Another important aspect of the Pokémon League is the sense of community it creates. The league brings together trainers from all over the region, each with their own unique experiences, backgrounds, and goals. In some games, players encounter other trainers who have also made it to the league, offering them a chance to interact, learn, and in some cases, battle. These encounters reinforce the idea that the Pokémon world is a shared experience, where every trainer's journey is interconnected and every victory or defeat has meaning. It is a reminder that the true spirit of Pokémon is not about competition, but about collaboration and understanding. The Pokémon League also serves as a bridge between the player's journey through the region and the greater Pokémon world. As trainers face the Elite Four and the Champion, they are reminded of the rich history and culture of the Pokémon world, from the ancient myths of the legendary Pokémon to the stories of past trainers who have risen to greatness. The League is not just the culmination of a single journey. It is a celebration of everything that has come before and everything that will come after. It is a place where trainers from all walks of life can prove their worth, share their experiences, and be recognized for the hard work and dedication that they have put into their training. As you think about the Pokémon League and the test of heart it represents, imagine yourself standing at the entrance, ready to face the challenges ahead. Feel the weight of your journey, the culmination of every battle, every lesson, and every Pokémon you have encountered along the way. Let the excitement of the final challenge fill you with a sense of purpose, knowing that your bond with your Pokémon is the key to success. The Pokémon League is more than just a competition. It is a moment of triumph, a recognition of everything that has made you the trainer you are today. When Pokémon first appeared in 1996, few could have predicted the extraordinary journey it would embark on, becoming not just a video game, but a cultural phenomenon that would span decades. From its beginnings as a simple game concept, inspired by the childhood interests of Satoshi Tajiri, Pokémon quickly grew into something much larger than anyone could have imagined. What began as a pair of games for the Game Boy has evolved into an iconic franchise, influencing generations of fans around the world and shaping the gaming industry as a whole. At the heart of Pokémon's rise was its ability to combine accessibility with depth, offering a gaming experience that could be enjoyed by players of all ages. The original Pokémon Red and Green games tapped into the universal appeal of adventure, exploration, and discovery. Trainers set out on a quest to catch and collect Pokémon, traveling through different regions, battling other trainers, and striving to become the Pokémon champion. The concept of catching them all resonated with players, offering both a sense of accomplishment and a connection to the creatures they captured. What made Pokémon stand out from other games of the time was its unique blend of strategy and collection. The battle mechanics, based on a turn-based system with type advantages, encouraged players to think critically about their choices, whether they were selecting their Pokémon for a battle or choosing the right moves to use. The act of catching Pokémon became an integral part of the game, as players were encouraged to fill their Pokédex by finding and capturing every Pokémon species. The sense of progression in completing this monumental task kept players engaged and motivated to keep playing, while the ability to trade Pokémon with friends further expanded the experience, turning the game into a social activity as well. But while the games were undeniably fun and engaging, the true secret behind Pokémon's success was its world building. The Pokémon universe was rich with lore, filled with diverse creatures, legendary figures, and interconnected regions. The Pokémon world felt alive, and it was a world that players wanted to explore. From the forests and towns of Kanto to the icy mountains of Sinnoh, each region had its own unique environment, culture, and set of Pokémon to discover. This world building allowed Pokémon to transcend the confines of a single game and grow into something much larger, setting the stage for a franchise that would eventually expand into numerous forms of media. The release of the Pokémon anime in 1997 further solidified the franchise's place in pop culture. The story of Ash Ketchum and his partner Pikachu captured the imagination of audiences around the world. The anime's emphasis on adventure, friendship, and perseverance resonated deeply with viewers, many of whom grew up watching Ash's journey as he traveled through the Pokémon regions, battled gym leaders, and sought to become the greatest Pokémon master. The anime's success introduced a whole new generation to the Pokémon universe, expanding its appeal beyond gamers and turning Pokémon into a household name. Alongside the games and anime, the release of the Pokémon trading card game, TCG, in 1996 brought yet another dimension to the franchise. The Pokémon TCG offered fans a way to engage with the world of Pokémon beyond the video games, allowing them to collect, trade, and battle with Pokémon cards. The TCG quickly became a global phenomenon, and Pokémon card tournaments became an essential part of the competitive Pokémon scene. With each new set of cards, the Pokémon TCG introduced new mechanics, new cards, and new strategies, ensuring that the game remained fresh and exciting. Pokemon cards, particularly rare ones, became collector's items, further adding to the allure of the franchise. The success of the Pokemon video games, anime, and TCG set the stage for Pokemon's expansion into other areas of media and entertainment. Movies, merchandise, toys, and even theme park attractions became part of the Pokemon world, creating a global empire that reached far beyond the realm of gaming. Pokemon's reach was truly worldwide, with fans from different cultures and backgrounds coming together to celebrate their shared love of these fantastical creatures. Pokemon had become more than just a game. It was a cultural touchstone, a phenomenon that influenced everything from fashion to music to even language, with phrases like "gotta catch 'em all" becoming synonymous with the franchise. The franchise continued to evolve as new generations of games introduced new mechanics, regions, and Pokemon. Each new generation brought with it fresh ideas and innovations, from the introduction of online battling and trading in Pokemon Gold and Silver to the groundbreaking 3D graphics and Mega Evolution mechanics in Pokemon X and Y. With each new release, Pokemon remained relevant and engaging, adapting to the changing landscape of gaming while staying true to its core principles of adventure, exploration, and the joy of collecting. The rise of mobile gaming also brought a new chapter in Pokemon's story. In 2016, Pokemon Go was released, marking a revolutionary shift in how players interacted with the Pokemon world. The game utilized augmented reality, AR, to bring Pokemon into the real world, allowing players to find, catch, and battle Pokemon in their local environments. Pokemon Go became an international sensation, attracting millions of players and encouraging people to explore their surroundings in search of Pokemon. The game's success was a testament to Pokemon's lasting appeal and its ability to adapt to new technologies and trends. Alongside Pokemon Go, the release of Pokemon Sun and Moon brought a fresh take on the traditional Pokemon formula. Set in the tropical Alola region, these games introduced new mechanics, such as Alolan forms of existing Pokemon and the introduction of Z-moves, powerful moves that could change the tide of battle. Pokemon Sword and Shield continued this trend, offering players a new region to explore, Galar, while also embracing the future of gaming with features like Dynamaxing, which allowed Pokemon to grow to enormous sizes during battle. Beyond the main series of games, the Pokemon franchise has continued to expand through spin-offs like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Pokemon Snap, and Pokemon Ranger. These spin-offs offer different gameplay experiences, allowing players to immerse themselves in the Pokemon world in unique ways. Whether solving puzzles in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, photographing Pokemon in Pokemon Snap, or solving mysteries as a Pokemon Ranger, these games have added variety and depth to the Pokemon universe, broadening its appeal to different types of players. The Pokemon franchise has also maintained a strong presence in the competitive gaming scene. Competitive battling, whether through official tournaments or online platforms, has grown into a thriving community. Players create and train competitive teams, honing their skills and strategies to compete at the highest levels. The Pokemon World Championships has become one of the most prestigious events in the competitive gaming circuit, drawing top trainers from around the world to compete for the title of Pokemon World Champion. Through it all, Pokemon has remained true to its roots, continuing to offer players the same sense of wonder, discovery, an adventure that first captivated audiences over 2 decades ago. It has become a global cultural phenomenon that spans generations, bringing people together through its games, TV shows, movies, and collectibles. The core message of Pokémon, that through hard work, teamwork, and friendship, we can overcome any challenge, has resonated with players of all ages, creating a lasting legacy that will continue to thrive for generations to come. As you reflect on the evolution of Pokémon, let the journey through its history fill your mind with nostalgia and wonder. From the earliest days in the Kanto region to the global adventure that Pokémon has become today, imagine the countless trainers who have embarked on their own journeys, capturing Pokémon, battling rivals, and growing alongside their companions. Pokémon has become not just a game or a show, it is a shared experience, a part of the lives of millions of fans around the world, and a testament to the power of imagination and the bonds that unite us all. Since its debut in 1996, Pokémon has grown far beyond the confines of a video game. What began as a simple concept about catching and training fictional creatures has transformed into a global cultural phenomenon, influencing not just the world of gaming, but also the realms of television, movies, toys, fashion, music, and even language. The reach of Pokémon stretches far beyond the millions of players who have embarked on journeys through the various Pokémon regions. It has become a shared experience that connects people of all ages, cultures, and backgrounds. One of the key elements of Pokémon's success has been its ability to transcend its medium. While video games are the heart of the franchise, Pokémon's impact is felt across nearly every aspect of popular culture. The anime series, which began airing in 1997, became a global sensation, captivating audiences with the story of Ash Ketchum and his Pokémon companion, Pikachu. The simple but profound themes of friendship, perseverance, and the thrill of discovery resonated deeply with viewers, making the show a cornerstone of childhood for many around the world. The Pokémon anime's widespread popularity laid the foundation for a sprawling media empire. As the series continued to evolve, so did the stories told within it. With each new region, new characters, and new adventures, the anime captivated new generations of viewers while keeping longtime fans engaged. The anime not only introduced iconic Pokémon like Pikachu, Charizard, and Mewtwo, but also forged deep emotional connections between viewers and the characters. For many, the anime was their introduction to the world of Pokémon, and it remains a cherished memory for those who grew up watching it. In addition to the anime, the Pokémon movies further expanded the lore and the emotional depth of the franchise. Pokémon films like Pokémon, the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back, and Pokémon 2000, The Power of One became cinematic events for fans. These films were not just extended episodes of the show. They delved into the deeper, often more philosophical themes of the Pokémon world. Mewtwo Strikes Back, for instance, raised questions about the nature of identity, existence, and the ethics of scientific manipulation, all while delivering the action-packed Pokémon battles that fans loved. These films also introduced iconic moments of sacrifice, friendship, and self-discovery, which left lasting emotional impressions on viewers, young and old alike. Pokémon's influence extends beyond entertainment and into the world of merchandise. Toys, clothing, accessories, and other Pokémon-themed products have been a major part of the franchise's success. The iconic Pokémon trading card game, first released in 1996, has become a key element of the Pokémon experience, allowing fans not only to collect Pokémon cards, but also to compete in organized tournaments. The trading card game's popularity has only grown over the years, with rare cards becoming valuable collectibles and global tournaments bringing together some of the world's best players. The Pokémon merchandise boom isn't just limited to toys and cards. It extends to all aspects of pop culture. The release of plush toys, action figures, and even home decor items has brought Pokémon into homes and stores worldwide. Stores like Pokémon Center, which began as a retail space in Japan, now offers everything from clothing and accessories to home goods and even Pokémon-themed snacks. The visual appeal of Pokémon, combined with its nostalgic power, has made it a widely recognized brand that appeals to both old and new generations of fans. From the beloved Pikachu plush to the intricately designed Pokémon figures, these collectibles serve as constant reminders of the joy and adventure that Pokémon has brought to people's lives. Perhaps one of the most groundbreaking aspects of Pokémon's cultural impact is its ability to create community. From the very beginning, Pokémon was about more than just a solo adventure. It was about connection. The Pokémon games were designed with social interaction in mind, allowing players to trade Pokémon with friends and battle one another, first through the Game Boy's link cable and later through wireless and online systems. This emphasis on community and collaboration has helped Pokémon form an interconnected network of fans, each sharing their passion for the franchise. Pokémon also brought people together in real life, as local events and conventions and tournaments became places where players could meet and bond over their shared love of Pokémon. One of the most remarkable examples of Pokémon's ability to bring people together is the global success of Pokémon Go, released in 2016. The augmented reality, AR, mobile game allowed players to find, catch, and interact with Pokémon in the real world, using their smartphones as a portal to the Pokémon universe. Pokémon Go became a worldwide phenomenon, with millions of players walking through cities, parks, and neighborhoods, catching Pokémon and battling each other in virtual gyms. The game encouraged players to get outside, explore their surroundings, and connect with other players. In some cases, players formed communities and met new friends while hunting for rare Pokémon. The success of Pokémon Go brought Pokémon back into the mainstream, while also introducing it to a new generation of fans. Beyond gaming, Pokémon has also had a notable impact on language and pop culture. Phrases like "gotta catch 'em all" have become synonymous with the franchise and are recognized even by people who may not be familiar with the games or the anime. The term Pokémon itself has become part of the global lexicon, used to describe any kind of collection or series, from sports teams to other media franchises. The idea of collecting them all has transcended the game and become a cultural touchstone that is referenced in everything from advertising to social media. Fashion, too, has been influenced by Pokémon. The bright, colorful designs of the Pokémon characters have been incorporated into clothing, shoes, accessories, and even high-end fashion collaborations. Pokémon-themed apparel is a common sight in stores worldwide, with iconic images of Pikachu, Charmander, and other fan-favorite Pokémon appearing on everything from t-shirts to socks to backpacks. The franchise's impact on fashion is a testament to its enduring appeal, with its characters becoming more than just figures from a game. They are cultural icons. Music has also played a role in Pokemon's cultural influence. The Pokemon theme song, with its catchy refrain, "Gotta catch 'em all, Pokemon," became an anthem for fans and remains one of the most recognizable theme songs in television history. Beyond the theme song, the Pokemon soundtrack has introduced many memorable pieces of music, from the dramatic themes that accompany battles to the soothing melodies that accompany the journey. Music has been a key part of creating the atmosphere of the Pokemon world, helping to immerse players in the adventures they embark on. Pokemon's cultural influence is not just limited to its games, merchandise, and media presence, it has also impacted other areas of popular culture. Pokemon has inspired countless fan theories, fan art, and fan fiction, creating an entire subculture of dedicated creators who bring their own interpretations of the Pokemon universe to life. The franchise has also influenced other video games, inspiring game mechanics, character designs, and storytelling techniques that have been incorporated into numerous other titles. Pokemon's legacy as a groundbreaking and innovative franchise is felt throughout the gaming industry, and its influence continues to be seen in new games and technologies. In many ways, Pokemon has become a bridge between generations, connecting parents who grew up with the original games and children who are just discovering the franchise. It has transcended the role of a mere game or TV show and has become a part of the collective cultural consciousness. The memories created through Pokemon, whether through playing the games, watching the anime, or simply bonding over a shared love of Pokemon, are enduring, and they continue to be passed down from generation to generation. As you reflect on Pokemon's lasting cultural impact, think about the ways it has shaped your own life and the lives of those around you. From the excitement of catching your first Pokemon to the joy of battling your friends, Pokemon has left an indelible mark on the hearts of millions. It is more than just a game. It is a shared experience, a global community, and a lasting part of our cultural fabric. As the Pokemon franchise continues to grow and evolve, it's natural to wonder, what does the future hold for this beloved universe? From its origins as a Game Boy game in 1996 to its global impact today, Pokemon has seen countless innovations and adaptations over the years. With each new generation of games, the franchise has introduced new regions, Pokemon, mechanics, and stories, while continuing to hold on to the core values that made it so captivating in the first place. As we look ahead to the future of Pokemon, there are several exciting possibilities that could shape the next chapter in its remarkable journey. The most obvious direction for the future of Pokemon lies in the continued evolution of the video games. With each new entry, the games grow more complex, with improved graphics, new gameplay mechanics, and increasingly expansive worlds to explore. The shift to the Nintendo Switch brought a leap forward in both the technical and creative aspects of the games. Pokémon Sword and Pokémon Shield push the boundaries with their expansive open-world areas, like the Wild Area, where players could explore in 3D and encounter Pokémon roaming freely in their environment. This was a significant change from previous generations, where players were limited to traditional, grid-based movement. The future of Pokémon may see even more expansive worlds, with fully open-world regions where trainers can freely explore at their own pace, discovering new Pokémon and uncovering secrets hidden across the landscape. This could expand on the concept of the wild area, allowing players to venture into uncharted territories with even more freedom to interact with the environment. The inclusion of dynamic weather systems, day-night cycles, and regions that change with the seasons could provide endless possibilities for exploration. Pokémon could take full advantage of the hardware in new ways, making the world feel even more alive and immersive than ever before. Another exciting prospect for the future of Pokémon games is the continued evolution of battle mechanics. The introduction of Dynamaxing in Pokémon Sword and Shield added a new layer of strategy to battles, allowing certain Pokémon to grow to enormous sizes and use powerful max moves. But the next generation could see even more innovations, perhaps further exploring the mechanics of Mega Evolution or introducing new forms of temporary transformations, like the concept of fusion or morphing, where Pokémon temporarily combine their strengths for battle. There's also the potential for new battle formats, perhaps even integrating larger-scale battles with multiple players, or adding new multiplayer features to allow for more cooperative play. The advent of cloud technology and online connectivity could open up even more possibilities for the future of Pokémon. Cloud-based games could allow for seamless integration of new Pokémon, updates, and events, while also enabling players to interact with one another in larger, more dynamic ways. Imagine a Pokémon world that evolves in real time, with new events, challenges, and Pokémon appearing based on real-world events or seasons. This could allow for more persistent, shared worlds where players can collaborate, compete, and share their experiences, further cementing Pokémon as a global community. Another exciting possibility for the future of Pokémon is the continued expansion into augmented reality, AR, and virtual reality, VR. Pokémon Go proved the potential of AR by bringing Pokémon into the real world, encouraging players to explore their neighborhoods and communities. In the future, AR could continue to play a significant role in the Pokémon experience, with new games and features that allow players to interact with Pokémon in the world around them in more immersive ways. Imagine walking through your local park and seeing a Pokémon right in front of you, or being able to participate in real-time, interactive Pokémon battles with your friends or strangers across the world. Our virtual reality could also be a major part of Pokémon's future. While VR is still in its early stages in gaming, the concept of fully immersing yourself in the world of Pokémon is an exciting prospect. What if, in the future, players could step into the Pokémon world, interacting with Pokémon in first person, exploring regions, battling gym leaders, and experiencing the adventure like never before? With advancements in VR technology, it's not hard to imagine a future where Pokémon fans can truly live in the Pokémon universe. One area where the future of Pokémon may grow even more exciting is in the realm of storytelling. Over the years, Pokémon games have introduced a variety of rich, immersive narratives, from the creation myths tied to legendary Pokémon to the personal growth journeys of trainers. But with the growing complexity of Pokémon's world, future games could delve even deeper into storylines, exploring darker themes or more intricate plots that challenge players both emotionally and intellectually. The deeper exploration of Pokémon's legendary creatures could be expanded further, with new myths, stories, and legends that span multiple generations of games, building on the lore that has already been established. We may also see a more expansive role for player customization and personalization in future Pokemon games. In recent generations, players have had more control over their trainer's appearance and their Pokemon teams. The ability to customize your trainer's clothing, hairstyles, and other aesthetic features has added an extra layer of immersion. However, future games could push these features even further, offering more options to make the experience feel personal. Trainers could have more control over their journey's progression, customizing their teams or abilities based on their playstyle, and even influencing the direction of the narrative itself. And of course, one of the most anticipated aspects of the future of Pokémon is the introduction of new Pokémon. The franchise has always introduced new creatures with every new region, and as we move forward, fans eagerly anticipate what new and imaginative designs will emerge. Pokémon has always been known for its creativity, with each new generation bringing fresh, diverse creatures that push the boundaries of design. Whether it's a new starter Pokémon or a legendary figure tied to the mythology of the region, fans will undoubtedly continue to be enchanted by the imaginative creatures that define the Pokémon world. Future Pokémon games may also introduce new types or abilities that will further expand the strategic possibilities for trainers, adding even more depth to the competitive battling scene. In addition to these exciting advancements in gaming, the Pokémon franchise's continued presence in the anime and films will likely continue to shape the future of the franchise. The anime has had a long and storied history, and while Ash Ketchum's journey to become the Pokémon champion has come to a close, there are plenty of new stories to tell. New characters, new regions, and new themes can bring fresh perspectives to the Pokémon universe. The continuing development of Pokémon films, whether through new theatrical releases or streaming platforms, could also explore different narratives that expand on the depth and emotional resonance of the Pokémon world, providing new experiences for fans of all ages. The Pokémon franchise may also continue to branch out into other areas, such as television series, manga, and even more interactive experiences. Pokémon's potential to grow in media and entertainment is virtually limitless, as the world continues to captivate audiences around the world in new and exciting ways. As we think about the future of Pokémon, it's clear that the franchise's core values will remain at its heart: the joy of discovery, the thrill of companionship, and the value of hard work and growth. While the technological and storytelling advancements will undoubtedly shape the next chapter of Pokémon, the bond between trainer and Pokémon, the essence of what makes Pokémon so beloved, will continue to be the soul of the franchise. Whether it's through the games, the anime, or new technologies, Pokémon's future is bright, and it will continue to inspire and unite fans for generations to come. As we reflect on the journey of Pokémon, from its humble beginnings to its present-day status as a global cultural phenomenon, it's impossible to ignore the one central question: what is it about Pokémon that has allowed it to endure for so many years? What makes this franchise stand the test of time, capturing the hearts of both new and old generations of fans? The answer lies in several key factors, from its core themes to its ability to adapt and evolve with the times. Pokémon is more than just a game, a series, or a brand. It's a universal experience that resonates with people on a deep emotional level. One of the most powerful reasons for Pokemon's lasting appeal is its simplicity, combined with its depth. At its core, Pokemon is about exploration, adventure, and friendship. These simple concepts are universal, resonating with players of all ages. The idea of venturing into the unknown, discovering new creatures, and building relationships along the way is something that everyone can relate to. Whether you're a child experiencing the world of Pokemon for the first time, or an adult revisiting it with nostalgia, the themes of curiosity and connection transcend age. Pokemon doesn't require players to be experts in complex mechanics or overwhelming plots. Instead, it invites them into the world of wonder and imagination, where the possibilities are endless. The catchphrase, "gotta catch 'em all," has become synonymous with the Pokemon franchise for a reason. The joy of collecting Pokemon, of building a team, and of completing the Pokédex is an experience that taps into a fundamental human desire for discovery and accomplishment. There is a satisfaction in capturing a new Pokemon, in watching it grow and evolve, and in making it a part of your team. It's a rewarding cycle that keeps players engaged, always looking for the next challenge, the next Pokemon to discover. This process mirrors life itself, an ongoing journey of learning, growth, and the thrill of encountering new experiences. At the same time, Pokemon is a deeply emotional experience. The bond between a trainer and their Pokemon is the heart of the franchise. From the moment Ash Ketchum receives his first Pokemon, Pikachu, their friendship becomes a central theme of the Pokemon anime. Pikachu is not just Ash's companion, it is his partner, his friend, and his confidant. The emotional connection between Pokemon and their trainers is one of the most powerful aspects of the series, and it is this emotional depth that has made the franchise so impactful. Whether it's the loyalty of Pikachu, the courage of Charizard, or the heart of any Pokemon in the series, these creatures are more than just pets. They are symbols of growth, love, and understanding. The emotional resonance of Pokemon extends beyond the anime and games and into the Pokemon movies, where the themes of friendship and sacrifice often take center stage. Films like Pokémon, the first movie, explore the relationship between trainers and their Pokemon on a deeper level, with moments of selflessness, loss, and triumph. These stories, though fantastical, are grounded in real emotions, loyalty, trust, and the willingness to sacrifice for the ones we love. These are universal themes that continue to resonate with fans, reinforcing the idea that Pokemon is not just a game or show, it's a story of connection, compassion, and the bonds that define who we are. Another key to Pokemon's lasting appeal is its adaptability. Over the years, the Pokemon franchise has consistently reinvented itself, introducing new mechanics, regions, and Pokemon with each new generation. Yet at its core, it has never strayed far from the basic principles that made it so captivating in the first place. As technology has evolved, so too has the Pokemon world. The transition from the Game Boy's 8-bit graphics to the stunning visuals of the Nintendo Switch was a natural progression, bringing the Pokemon universe to life in new and exciting ways. With each new console, the games have evolved, with innovations like open-world exploration, online trading, and dynamic battle systems that keep the franchise fresh and engaging for both newcomers and longtime fans. The advent of mobile gaming has also allowed Pokémon to continue to evolve. Pokémon Go, for example, brought the franchise into the world of augmented reality, allowing players to interact with Pokémon in the real world. This was a groundbreaking move that introduced a whole new way to play and experience Pokémon. Players could now explore their own neighborhoods, parks, and cities, discovering Pokémon as if they were part of the real world. Pokémon Go's success showed how Pokémon could adapt to new technologies and trends while also maintaining its core spirit of exploration and adventure. It also helped to reintroduce Pokémon to a new generation who might not have played the core games but were eager to catch and collect Pokémon in an entirely new format. One of the most significant factors contributing to Pokémon's enduring popularity is its community. Pokémon has always been about connection, whether it's through trading, battling, or simply sharing the joy of discovering a new Pokémon. The Pokémon community is vast and diverse, with fans from all corners of the world coming together to celebrate their shared love of the franchise. Online platforms like the Global Trade System, GTS, Pokémon Showdown, and official tournaments have made it easier for players to connect with one another, forming friendships and rivalries that span the globe. Pokémon conventions, online forums, and fan art bring together fans who, though separated by distance, share the same passion for the world of Pokémon. The Pokémon fan base is unlike any other in its level of dedication. From fan theories and speculations about future games to fan-created content like artwork, music, and stories, Pokémon has sparked a vibrant and thriving community of creators. The fandom has expanded beyond the games, with Pokémon-inspired cosplay, music remixes, and fan-made games that have helped keep the franchise alive. Pokémon's impact on popular culture is undeniable, as it has inspired generations of fans to engage with the world in creative and innovative ways. The Pokémon community has become a family, a space where fans can come together to celebrate their shared love for these fictional creatures and the world they inhabit. The sense of nostalgia also plays a significant role in Pokémon's enduring appeal. For many, Pokémon represents a cherished part of their childhood. The memories of catching their first Pokémon, battling friends, and completing the Pokédex are experiences that have stayed with fans throughout the years. As new generations of games are released, older fans are introduced to new mechanics and regions, but they can still find comfort in the familiar elements that have been part of the franchise since the beginning. The introduction of remakes and enhanced versions of classic games like Pokémon Fire Red and Leaf Green and Pokémon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire has allowed fans to relive their favorite moments while also experiencing them with updated graphics and mechanics. Perhaps the most powerful reason for Pokémon's lasting appeal is its ability to unite people from all walks of life. Pokémon has transcended language barriers, cultural differences, and age groups, bringing together players of all backgrounds through its universal themes of exploration, friendship, and growth. Whether in a local park, at a competitive tournament, or across the world in a virtual setting, Pokémon has created a global community of players who share their love of these creatures and the adventures they embark on together. Pokémon is more than just a game or a franchise. It is a shared experience that has shaped generations of fans. It teaches us the value of friendship, the excitement of discovery, and the importance of perseverance. It reminds us that the journey is just as important as the destination, and that through hard work, dedication, and teamwork, we can accomplish great things. Pokemon's timeless appeal lies in its ability to inspire, connect, and unite people all over the world, making it a beloved part of our cultural fabric. As you reflect on Pokemon's enduring legacy, let the warmth of its world fill your thoughts. Think of the bonds you've formed with your own Pokemon companions, the adventures you've had, and the memories you've created along the way. Pokemon is a timeless journey, one that continues to inspire new generations and keep its fans connected, no matter where they are in the world. Thank you for joining me on this gentle journey through the world of Pokemon. From the earliest days in the Kanto region to the present, we've explored the deep bonds, legendary creatures, and epic rivalries that have shaped this beloved universe. I hope this peaceful adventure has helped you reflect on the joy, the friendships, and the stories that have made Pokemon such a timeless part of our lives. As you settle into rest, let the memories of these adventures drift through your mind. May your dreams be filled with the magic of Pokemon, the excitement of discovery, and the warmth of those bonds that connect us all. Good night, dear friend. Sleep well, and may you awaken refreshed for the next journey you embark on.